Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? Today has been insane. The news in today has perhaps been the most insane we've seen yet. I have so much crazy shit to go over, but I've been losing my mind this entire morning because of just how much fucking bullshit is going on in our country right now. How are you all doing? How is everyone doing this morning? We have a lot to go over today. Holy shit, do we have a lot to go over today. Let me get some of my stuff ready. First, I want to just put this up while we wait for some people to get into chat. We're going to take a look at a little graph. I'm going to put this up nice and big. Maybe we can just watch this on loop for a few minutes. Hey, Under the Thunder. How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. My goodness. You guys have probably seen this graph already, right? Look at this shit. What the absolute fuck? Also, oh yeah, I need to remember to change this thing every day so that it's not... Oh, actually, this one's fine. 23 more hours to go. Awesome. We have the fucking working animation now. We have a proper little bar down here, the sub bar. CK2? Is that Crusader Kings 2? Is it a lot of money? I thought it was always on sale. I could never get into like that type of fantasy or strategy game. Grand strategy. I mean, I guess I did play Stellaris for a while. Stellaris was one that I really enjoyed. Oh yeah. There's a ton of DLCs, aren't there? Look at this shit, guys. So this is since, let's see. The data here starts in 19. Let's see. I can't even see where it starts. This looks like it starts in 1960. And here's all of the data that we've had for jobless claims, which is seasonally adjusted. So normally, just so you understand what this seasonally adjusted part means, what this usually means is in off seasons for like agricultural work, there's a lot of unemployment claims because people lose their agricultural jobs off season. So this is with the adjusted seasonal claims. So this is like, these spikes are like the overall rate minus or, corrected so that it doesn't overstate when people are going out of like regular farm work. And this was like now. This is like March. Like this is what we're looking at as of April. How this is all of fucking recorded US history of unemployment, and this is now. Isn't that fucking insane? Fortunately, there's even more insane things I have to go over today. And it's absolutely fucking nuts. So this is just the beginning. But before we get into the really depressing stuff, I wanted to share a really good meme with y'all. This is a good ass meme. From a good ass account, actually, believe it or not. By the way, Nirvana is is the artist who worked on oh no, now the name is slipping me. Fuck. What the fuck was the name of the comic? Why can't I think of this? Yeah, with Michelle Perez. Here we go. There we go. The Pervert. This is a fucking good comic. This is a fucking amazing comic. Really, really sad, but fucking amazing. You guys should check it out. But yeah, that's who made this tweet. So I'm going to share just a happy little meme with you. Get the mood okay before we dive into the really fucking insane stuff. Because we have something truly insane to go over this morning. Oh, hey, what's this? I got a post from one of my faves. Hello, Deli. Good to see you. Oh, uh-oh. 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 Here we go. Oh, no. Oh, no. Bonk. 6 fucking million. By the way, we're up to like 11 million now, I think. I think this was the new number as of this morning. This is This is so bad. We are not prepared for this. We are fucking... Yeah. Okay, I think I figured out a new mosaic. I think I figured out a solution. I think I actually figured out a solution, which is after much fucking around, I was able to put the resolution down so that it doesn't overtax the USB, and then also have a Wi-Fi, like a devoted Wi-Fi backup. So if the USB should fail, it will automatically switch, and we might get a little bit of lag, but it should automatically switch right over to Wi-Fi, so we can have face cam again. Thank God, right? Let's see. Okay, we got some shit in chat already. Jarson Wire, what the fuck are you talking about here, buddy? Are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? Yeah, 11 million now. Yep. We'll play the graph one more time before I go on to the other meme that I was going to play. Are you crazy? No, it isn't. It's not factual at all. If anything, we are the ones who are at this point causing the coronavirus. Just because a disease happened to originate in a country does not literally. Every single scientist on the planet disagrees with you, Jarson Wire. Yeah, no, it's okay, New Mosaic. It's really stupid. This has been like the stupidest process I've ever had to deal with, but it's working for now. It's working. Shotgun when the walls fell. Bump. Okay, Jarson Wire, you're doing the thing. Calm down. Jarson Wire, calm down. Calm down. You're doing the thing. You're doing the thing that people do, where they come into a chat and they start throwing shit all over the place. Yes. Were there bad actions on behalf of the Chinese government? Sure. They were also the first country to get hit by the coronavirus, by this particular coronavirus, first. You can expect that a country that is dealing with a novel coronavirus, remember, novel, it's a new one. This is a new one. It behaves differently than the other ones. Jarson, don't you do it. Shut the fuck up. You got to learn to listen. You can expect a nation to make some mistakes. Okay? That's not forgiving them. That's just saying, okay, they made some mistakes. Since about a month after they realized that coronavirus was a big problem, they have been taking it very seriously. And not only have they been taking it very seriously within their own borders, they have also, hold up, they have also begun to help other countries prepare. They have also shared information worldwide. So, yes, are there flaws in the Chinese approach? Absolutely. But guess what? You can't say that China caused a virus, that there has been multiple versions of this virus that have appeared in other places. America caused the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu originated in fucking Kansas. No, that's not how are you really this stupid, Jarson? I swear to God, I've seen you in my chat before. Usually we don't have people that are in my chat for more than a few minutes that are this dumb. That's not soft. It's a virus isn't fucking soft power, you imbecile. A virus that appears in your fucking country and spreads clearly out of control. Even if you make mistakes, even if you course correct and don't course correct exactly, that doesn't mean the virus is your fault. Don't worry, Jarson Wire. You know what? Just shh. Just shush. Listen to the stream. Listen to the stream, Jarson. I promise. Just hush for a while. If you're still mad at the end of the stream, then we can talk a little bit more about how China, blah, blah, blah. But you're literally fixating because you're looking for a scapegoat. You want to blame China, a country of like 1.8 billion people, for the outbreak of a disease? That's fucking stupid. That is fucking moronic. Do you understand that? And you are being moronic when you do that. So shush, take a seat, and let's listen. Because we have a whole lot of shit to go over. Oh, you want to talk about hiding the severity of the disease? You just wait. We're going to get into it this stream, buddy. We're going to get into it. Yep, they just want somebody to blame. Jarson Wire, don't make me mute you. Don't make me fucking mute you. Because I will. If you're just going to keep saying stupid shit the entire stream, I'll fucking mute you. I'll do it. I'll motherfucking do it. All right. Now. Let's do this. I have a meme. Before we get into the really depressing stuff. I have a meme that I want us to enjoy together. Because this meme is a good-ass meme. All right, you ready? This is breaking news. Coming hot from the Chans. In my attempt to make David Lynch sick by thinking mean thoughts about him, landed me in the hospital due to a fairly damaging seizure. I was in the hospital for 3 days only thinking happy thoughts about me and stealing any sort of medical equipment I could find. And I have about 2 bags full of hospital equipment now. Tonight, I am back home and I will hook up all of the hospital tools and start thinking negative thoughts about David Lynch again. The 3 days should have rested me, and tonight I will use the heartbeat monitors and the toilet things to have extreme negative energy. Do you know what you learn from this? Don't send negative thoughts. Don't think mean thoughts about David Lynch because you'll land yourself in a hospital with a fairly damaging seizure. Guys, I think David Lynch might be an eldritch horror. I think. Oh no, my soda's empty. Hold on. Dwell on this. I have to go grab a soda. 1 second. Chair stream. Hey, I like my soda. I do drink water. I do make a very good effort to drink a lot of water. I just fucking love soda. It's my vice. I fucking love the bubbly sody. It's so good. So yeah. So this is the perhaps the greatest meme. This meme has been fucking killing me. Just guys, I'm just warning you. Please. Don't think any mean thoughts about David Lynch. We don't need that fucking pressure on our lives at the moment. Don't think mean thoughts about David Lynch. All right. So, now we have to get into the serious stuff because well, you know. So first we're going to talk about this. This is a little one, okay? Remember how I think a couple streams ago I made a comparison to our current situation to the Great Depression and to the Grapes of Wrath? Oh boy, here we go. Jarson, don't make me mute you. Don't make me fucking mute you, buddy. Wait a minute. This isn't the right tweet. The fuck? My tweet is gone. This isn't the right one. Oh, this one is really bad though. So let's look at this anyway. Well, no, this is not the one I wanted to do. This has nothing to do. What the fuck? The fuck? Where'd my fucking thing go? This isn't it. Well, okay, fine then. All right. This is it. We're going to dive into the deep stuff. We're going to watch a segment from the Majority Report this morning. And I don't usually like to do this because, you know, paragraph. Yeah, he's paragraphing right now. Caused it. Let's just read this. You know what? Fuck. Jarson. This is what Jarson has to say. They caused it by neglect, hiding the virus, lying about its origins, arresting journalists, etc., etc. By the way, the arresting journalists thing was debunked. And yes, they did attempt to suppress some information about the virus because they didn't know what it was and they had no idea what was going on. That is actually, I don't think that's a good thing, but given the way that international relations tends to work currently, especially given the fact that we've basically been in a trade war with China, I do not blame them for taking caution and not wanting their country's holdings and stocks and whatnot to tank, because that's exactly what happens when you have a disaster and you're not the dominant power in the world. You lose more. Now, that doesn't excuse it, but that gives an explanation as to why these things are the way they are. What the fuck are you talking about? This is the thing. This is the thing that you do. You people do this all the fucking time. You come in, you throw out 1,000 fucking bullshits, and you expect me to bend the entire stream around your stupid bullshit. No. Shush. Learn. Listen. We have more things to do, way more important things to do, than go, oh, it's China's fault. What does that do? Jarson, what the fuck does that even do? If you wail and scream, let's say that all of your bullshit isn't bullshit. And let's say that you have an argument that actually makes sense, which you don't. But let's say you did. What does it accomplish to scream about how it's China's fault? What the fuck have you accomplished? Have you accomplished anything? Have you made any progress? Have you accomplished anything? They did take good measures. Actually, they're taking better measures than us. You do realize that it's in our country that has the worst infection, because our country is very bad at keeping it under control. When people came here, we knew about it as early as January. We knew about it earlier than that. In fact, we went over on another stream, Jarson. You're just not informed. We've gone over on another stream the ways in which we knew years in advance that something like this was coming. The military literally had specifically a coronavirus. They discussed a specifically coronavirus, like SARS or like MERS, being a serious pandemic issue. It was the fucking U.S. Navy. I think it was the Navy that did what the fuck is it called? A simulation where they basically get a bunch of people together and then they go down on and they work out all the differences. What would happen if this happened? It's like war games. It's like where they prepare and they think about what would happen in war in preparation so they can be ready and make sure they're identifying weak spots. Well, guess what? One of our weak spots was literally a coronavirus, and we did nothing about it, and we knew this years ago. This is so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, this is what we're going to talk about right now, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but today the news broke. The news broke that the United States military has set up an air bridge. An air bridge is basically when they have a train of massive, these enormous fucking cargo planes going from place to place. So it looks like a bridge in the sky is the implication. Is that there's so many planes going back and forth from certain locations that it's like a bridge. It's called an air bridge. It's a tactical thing that the military has done at various times of crisis in our history. However, right now, under Jared Kushner and Donald Trump, the U.S. military is airlifting supplies from all over the world, buying them on the taxpayer's dime, using the military budget to purchase ventilators, masks, gowns, protective equipment, bringing it back to the States using jet fuel that is paid for by the American people, and then giving it away to private industry. So for a second, let's just ignore Jarson and let's watch this. Because this is really, really crazy. It's enough that it made Sam Cedar go talk about this for more than half of his show unintentionally, because he had other news to talk about, and this was just so insane. So let's just watch this. Let's watch this real quick.
I don't think that
the crisis beard. I know.
By any people who are in our government now, in terms of just being alive.
Just listen to this.
50 years ago, we're still in 1970, and Joe Biden is 20 years old. And I don't think that they can conceive of the scope of the problem, and I don't think they can conceive of the scope of the solution. And so there's all this cosplay that continues on. We got to go through banks. We got to make this a lending process. We've got to sell this stuff through private enterprise. I think part of it is a corrupt notion, but the Republicans are worse than the Democrats in that respect. I mean, the Democrats at least would say like, well, we can suspend things for a while. And these guys are like, no, these are ironclad laws. We can't have the government delivering this stuff out. And it's a real problem. Let's play this clip.
Here we go.
John Benjamin can wait a minute. That's all I'm saying. There's two clips I want to play that I think show the malfeasance. Maybe three.
Hey, Jarson Wire. Just so you know, you say not even an argument. Neither is we're doing it all for Winnie. So, yeah. Before you start Peter Molyneuxing,
this is clip
not
number
Peter
7.
Molyneux, Stefan Molyneuxing on us.
This is
Another
the
notable idiot.
Navy Rear Admiral John P.
Pay attention to this shit.
Polowachik. I don't know how to
Navy
pronounce
Rear
his last
Admiral
name.
is going to be talking
Doesn't
here in a
matter.
second.
And he is being asked by Wajia Jiang, a reporter from CBS News. And I this is one of those moments where I think, like, as a reporter, you must be like, I can't believe this. And it really is stunning. There is an air bridge, which is essentially like they are the U.S. government is like sourcing and flying in this stuff, personal protective equipment and medical supplies from abroad to the U.S. And listen to this guy explain it. It is the White House reporter is also just sort of like, wait, what?
Get the medical equipment that they need.
And the reason for that is because, according to governors, and also by the fact that we haven't seen any numbers up there about what is going to the private sector, can you tell us what percentage of the supplies on these large cargo planes are going to private companies versus FEMA versus the states?
So FEMA's
80%?
This product that we're moving is primarily commercial product that would enter the commercial system and be distributed through financial business transactions between hospitals and these distributors.
So just to clarify, that explains why states say they're bidding like they're on eBay, because the supplies are going to the private sector, and then they have to go there to get the supplies.
That's normally how things. That's normally how things work, right? So I'm not here to disrupt a supply chain. Say, look, these 6 distributors, 6, 7.
Pause it for a second. I mean, this is so effing amazing to watch this guy. And I imagine, I mean, every part of inside of him should be dying right now to have to deliver what he is delivering. And that is the best case scenario for that guy. What he is saying is that we are taking U.S. military airplanes. We are sourcing material all around the globe for hospitals to save people's lives. We are flying them back, and we are giving, as far as I can tell, 100% of that stuff to businesses to then basically auction off to hospitals and states who are in need of this emergency supplies. His argument is,
I feel justified. I feel justified in having lost my mind this morning when I see that Sam Cedar, a news veteran who lived through the fucking, reporting in the Iraq war era, is also losing his mind over this. This is the most fucked shit that we've even seen so far. Literally, the U.S. military. See, there was that little thing. I think it's, I don't know what it's doing. We'll see. All right. I'm watching the camera. Fucking bullshit. But seriously, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on with this? Hold on. My camera's fucking up again. It just never seems to end. There we go. I think I can fix it. There we go. That should do it. Boop. Hopefully this will fix it. Yeah, crisis grifting on a genuinely international level. Just think about it. Every year we give the most money to any government institution goes to the military. And here we are going around the world. We are employing the military to fly incredibly expensive planes to put thousands of people to work through the military just to locate these supplies all over the world where they're available, bring them back to the US, give them away to companies, and then fucking those companies are then able to immediately turn around and make hospitals bid on them. And on top of that, there is already evidence, by the way, other reporting this morning has already shown that some of the corporations that were auctioning these off, auctioned them off to private companies overseas. So the American, the American military sourced them, bought them, traveled them overseas, gave them away to private companies who then auction them off to hospitals and sometimes choose to send them back overseas to private companies. This is the most insane, unprecedented thievery on a I don't even know how to deal with this. This is paradigm shift level. The US military is fucking looting the world, essentially, on behalf of private corporations who are then literally playing middlemen and profiteering off of masks and ventilators as Americans are dying. Seriously, Glooby, there are ways you can make your own masks, and if you have the talent or the ability for it, please do so. Because genuinely, this sort of like localized building things locally, making things locally is actually what we're going to have to do right now, because on a federal level, it's so fucking broken that the federal government is literally just sourcing things directly for private companies. Guys, mods, please, time out Jarson Wire. Please time out Jarson Wire. I don't have time to stomp down his stupid bullshit. Time out Jarson Wire for 10 minutes. Thank you. Jarson, you're welcome in this chat, but not when you're spamming stupid shit. There is an incredible amount of data that points that masks do help. No, are they 100%? Absolutely not. Even N95 masks are not 100%, which N95 is like the goal. However, numerous professional organizations worldwide have stated that wearing masks does indeed help. It can reduce, it won't stop you from breathing in like small droplets, but it can catch big droplets. So it does increase your chances. It's better than none. So I'm not going to deal with Jarson Wire coming in here and also doing like 2 fronts of misinformation for me to try and stamp down in chat. Jarson is not the type of person you should be listening to. Seriously. This is so unbelievably insane. Like, I don't even know how to approach this. It's making Sam go insane. You can see fucking Sam here screaming. Like, let's go a little bit further in this.
To interfere with the market process. Well, how the F are they getting these supplies in the first place? They're doing it with tax dollars. They're doing it with military personnel. But this is a pandemic. This is an emergency. This is one of the most unbelievable dynamics that I think one could even imagine in this instance. This is like the functional equivalent of like, your house is on fire. The fire department comes with taps the hydrant and then transports the water to, Nestle. And then you got to approach Nestle and say, hey, can I get some of that water to put the fire out of my house? Well, I don't know. It's another fire down the street. How much money you got if you want this water? That's what's going on here. This is just, it's stunning. Just pull it back a little bit.
Now keep in mind, this is so unbelievably stunning that even mainstream news sources are gawking at this. This morning, Sam had Chris Hayes of MSNBC, who, yes, admittedly is their like most, left-leaning guy, I guess, that they have on MSNBC. But still, Chris Hayes has a show on mainstream news, and he was talking about this shit. So this is reaching the level where not even the mainstream news can ignore it anymore. That is how egregious and disgusting and unconscionable, what the fuck's the word? Unconscionable that this shit is. And you have the fucking Navy dismissing there's the Captain Crozier thing. I just read about that this morning. Wait a second. Look at this shit. You know what? It is broken. It is broken after all. I gotta fix this shit. What the fuck? 5. God damn it. What's tomorrow? The 4th. Sorry about my sub goal there. It was broken. I thought it wasn't broken, but it was. Now it's not. There we go. Now we've got the sub goal up. Anyway, look at this fucking shit. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. Like, what do you even do with this? What the fuck do you even do with this? You just have to hope that it's, like, loud enough and galling enough and put in front of enough people's faces that even, like, our like, half asleep senators and representatives can fucking jump on this. Because this is insane. Genuinely insane. And I don't even know what to tell people about it. This is like, it's literally Sam's little version was the best. It's like if the fire department came, a government paid fire department came and pumped water out to Nestle and then made Nestle, and then Nestle was able to charge it to you, and then they decided just to take it and put it back into the fucking pump because it would be somehow more profitable for them to repump it and rebottle it into water or something. Insane. Marinara says, I knew things were bad politically before the pandemic, but I didn't have a real sense of how much outright evil people would ignore to maintain the system. To be honest, I thought it was less. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I think we're yet to see. I think everyone's kind of politically stunned right now and just going, what the fuck? And that's like something I've been dealing with myself, which is just like, what the fuck are we even supposed to do? How do you grapple with this? And besides shining light on it. I mean, yeah, to a degree, but like there's only like to a degree, yes. But there's an information issue. One of the reasons why so many egregious problems have like sort of slid under the radar in American capitalism is because people don't see other people being affected. It's all kept, under the table. You don't see it. You maybe hear a story about it occasionally, but it's like, a one-off. It's the media doesn't talk about poverty. The media doesn't talk about downer issues. They don't talk about, in fact, they help like advertise wars like the Iraq War. And you don't have as much time to talk to other people about it and find out like, oh shit, people are suffering. So there's this almost like information problem. Well, those walls are just fucking cracking right now. All over the place. Like 10 million people applying for unemployment. That means like lots of people are going to be knowing people who are on unemployment, even in our sort of atomized society. Yeah, to a degree, but you can only do that so far. I've been mentioning this, that like how we're going to find out just how far you can actually push the narrative. Freedom Dow. Most of my friends lost their jobs already. Yeah, a lot of us have. I mean, I'm not getting any fucking other work besides this right now. There's no fucking work available for writers. I mean, we've already had, I think it was Paste magazine, Paste and another magazine. 2 magazines this morning shut their doors. 2 fucking magazines just shuttered. Bam, all those writers fired. And those jobs are already rare. Gig economy jobs are fucking shit right now. Yeah, 20 to 30 people. That's insane. But I 100% believe you. And the data agrees with you. See, this is the thing. This is that thing I always talk about. Like, there is a value to a certain amount of anecdotes, especially when you're cross-referencing anecdotes and the data. And we can see 10 million people going up. I'm seeing people, oh shit, this is coming for us. Sephora laid off a ton of people. Oh yeah, what's his name? Pitchford, Randy Pitchford did that too. Gearbox, like they said, oh yeah, we're not giving you guys bonuses anymore after they promised like we're not gonna like slash bonuses during the coronavirus. They were like, actually, we take that back. And there's just nothing you can do about it because, I mean, there is stuff you can do about it, but like, on the surface, you have to start thinking and strategizing. You can't, there's no response that you can make to your employer just saying, yeah, we're not going to keep a promise. What are you going to do about it? Go to court? The courts that aren't fucking happening right now? What are you going to do? It's a pandemic. So we have a huge problem where not only is the federal government failing, but every institution that we rely on to not be completely 100% victimized by businesses and by bosses and by landlords have completely collapsed, which leaves us to do it. And then there's this shit. And then you have the just blatant examples of not only the federal government just profiteering, but it's like profiteering layered on top of incompetence. I have an article I want us to read together, which I think will be pretty interesting. Let me bring it up real quick. This one is called "Jared Kushner Might Just Kill Us All," and keep in mind that this decision with the military is under Jared Kushner's, as I understand it, is under Jared Kushner's leadership. Remember this face, this fucking pathetic face. Reporting on the White House's herky-jerky, that's a weird word, herky-jerky coronavirus response, Vanity Fair's Gabriel Sherman has a quotation from Jared Kushner that should make all Americans, and particularly all New Yorkers, dizzy with terror. According to Sherman, when New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo said that the state would need 30,000 ventilators at the apex of the coronavirus outbreak, Kushner decided that Cuomo was being alarmist. I have all this data about ICU capacity, Kushner reportedly said. I'm doing my own projections, and I've gotten a lot smarter about this. New York doesn't need all those ventilators. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top expert on infectious diseases, said he trusts Cuomo's estimate and therefore not Kushner's. Even now, it's hard to believe that someone with as little expertise as Kushner could be so arrogant, but he said something similar on Thursday when he made his debut at the White House's daily coronavirus briefing. People who have requests for different products and supplies, a lot of them are doing it based on projections, which are not the realistic projections. Guys, by the way, most projections that we've heard are conservative. They are not the most aggressive possibility, nor are they the most likely one. These are the most conservative. And we've heard the conservative ones because people don't want people to panic. They want to dampen the panic. Just like remember when Jarson Wire or whatever that person's name was whining in chat earlier about China dampening projections and hiding shit? Well, guess what? That's what we're doing constantly. The 200,000 deaths has been widely stated as very conservative. Most of the projections for what they actually need are based on assumptions that are based on data that we've seen is already underinflated. So one of the things that we've been seeing, projections. Okay, so projections are based off of data that's gathered from hospitals. Hospitals, though, we've been seeing, because they do not have real exam. It's not anybody who's. I mean, there's multiple sources that you can go look up. Anthony Fauci is one of the people who've said that these are conservative. You can literally go watch him on the news. So, but secondly, there's another reason, which is what you have to do is called use your brain and not just have pundit brain. See, pundit brain would tell you only if somebody on the news says it, is it true? Oh, my camera's messing up again. Whatever. I seem to not be able to figure out this camera shit. But whatever. Pundit brain would have you say, well, did somebody on the news tell me that? Well, no. But what you can do, mute Jarson Wire again. Mute Jarson Wire again. He needs another 10 minutes. If he does it again after his mute comes up, ban him. But just mute him for now. If any of my mods can mute him for another 10 minutes, that'd be great. What's a good point? No, there was no misinformation given. You're just screaming in chat. You're just screaming in chat. I never told anybody to buy a mask ever. Making a mask, making a makeshift mask is an objectively good thing. This has been stated by the WHO. Anyway, Yes, but real exam, those are based off of number. This is what I'm saying. The second part of the part where you go, I can think, is when you can read the reports that we read on stream yesterday that are, and even today, we haven't even yet to get to this, but I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take a look in here. I'll want to try and find you this article. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this right off the bat. You might have to give me a minute. What I'm saying is, though, hear me out. Yes. Viral load is a thing. Yes, he's talking about the old meta before we had the patch, the scientific information patch, which is that we understand that the more viral load that you take on, the more virus that you come into contact with, the more likely you are to fall severely ill, the more likely your immune system is to be overwhelmed by the virus, which is why they're saying use gloves, use a makeshift mask. No, don't buy N95 masks. Don't buy fucking respirators. Give those if you have that sort of shit. I mean, obviously, if you have one N95 mask that's for your personal use or one for each of your family members, that's fine. But don't hoard masks is what they're saying, because doctors need those more. Do you know why doctors need the masks? Because it fucking helps prevent the spread of the disease and helps lower their viral load. So Jarson Wire, you're just screaming about shit because you're angry. You're not actually listening to the words that are being said on stream, and that will earn you a mute. Now, Azam, no, they don't. Many hospitals were reporting. They have been reporting deaths that are based off of, they're reporting deaths as pneumonia when they were likely COVID. They're reporting deaths from, respiratory arrest that are likely actually COVID. The reason why this is a problem is because we do not have the tests. We don't have the tests. We're not testing anybody. Many of the people who are even being diagnosed currently in New York aren't actually being tested. Oh, I know a problem. Wait, no, that's not it. What is happening with my camera? Let me try something. One quick thing before I go on this, because this fucking camera shit is driving me nuts. Here we go. I don't know exactly how this thing works, so let's hope that this time it works. There we go. Well, it's certainly being recognized. That's good. All right, let's hope that this time it stays. Because they can't. It doesn't. Real Azam, you can't take in data that isn't existing because we're not testing. They don't have the data to show how many people are being tested right now because we don't have tests, because we failed on tests, because we refuse the free tests. Yes, I do. You are being hopelessly naive if you think that they are giving out, that the Trump admin is giving out aggressive estimates. Everyone else in the world says that, and every single projection that we've made so far, every single projection that every single country has made has been on the low side in the end. Go fucking look at this data. Yes, he is. Fauci is Trump admin. He's just the best Trump admin that we have right now. You look. Part of my job here is to talk about the things that aren't 100% hard data, because you can't always, when you're in a crisis where the data comes at a massive lag, you have to think and you have to use your sense and you have to use critical thinking. You have to go, okay, every single country underestimates how bad it's going to hit. Every single hospital, I've read multiple reports this morning, which I didn't have queued up because I honestly didn't think we were going to be talking about this particular portion of it. But I can find them if you really wish me to. On later. You can fucking find them in my Discord. The point is, article after article after article after expert is saying These are not going to be accurate to how big this impact is going to be. We've seen that the case go over and over and over again, especially here in the States. Every single measure that we've put has not been enough, and this crisis has only accelerated faster than anybody thought. I think you underestimate the power of people people underselling their numbers and how much of a course correction will be needed as the actual data comes out. Every single country that had just as many fucking data scientists that you're talking about right now was running projections, and all of them failed to meet the actual wave of infections. So you can talk about simulations and predictions all day, but the fact is that so far all of our predictions have been conservative. Even the people who were trying to warn us have been conservative. No, that is not. You have pundit brain. You have pundit brain right now. This is what pundit brain is. It's where all you think of is polls and data and all this shit, and not the actual real ground impact and not the imperfections of reality. Data is most effective as an analytical tool after the fact, when you can go and rule out. Do you understand how much of when you have no margin, right? We have almost no margin of error in this country in that we don't have ventilators built up in stock. We don't have masks built up in stock. We run everything very close to the line. We have this is really a stupid way to run things, but we have exactly what is quote unquote needed for daily business, and that's it. In hospitals, businesses, this is a problem all across the country, right? That data cannot adjust for data that doesn't yet exist. There is no data on how many hospitals are writing off COVID because they don't have a way to prove it, and how many hospitals, most of which are for profit and have provably messed with that and have had their data provably tampered with because of the fact that they're for profit in the past. These for-profit businesses are incentivized to underreport. They're incentivized to conclude, let's say this person died from pneumonia, even if they had all of the COVID-19 symptoms. And that, when you add that fucking data up on a massive level, is going to be worse. And the federal government is also, consider this, the federal government is also incentivized to underreport the numbers in this case, because they are trying to downplay it, as they have from the very minute this whole nonsense started, for the purposes of dampening the effect on the stock market. We have seen this over and over and over again. So, real Azam, what you are doing is you are committing the fucking pundit brain problem, which is where you are so lost in the technicals of your understanding of data simulation to miss the real shit that's right in front of you, the facts that are right in front of you, and the weaknesses of your model. This is that technocratic bullshit. It's where, AI will save us. Numbers will save us. Well, guess what, buddy? Numbers aren't fucking saving us right now. Do you want to know who's saving us? We are saving us. We are. That's the only people. The fucking federal government isn't saving us. Data scientists aren't saving us shit right now, because we don't have a federal government that will even listen to data, nor do we have any way of ensuring that that data is accurate. And in fact, we have evidence that points to the other direction. We have evidence that points to the fact that the data is compromised. Get out of my chat. Get this fucker out of my chat. Ban. Ban. Social distance this guy. Somebody ban him, please. Delhi, or thank you. Yeah, I don't have time for this bullshit today. I don't have time for that kind of stupid bullshit. I'm sorry, but this pundit brain shit will get us all killed. It's the same type of people. Look at this. I'm going to show you guys a tweet I made the other day because I was so fucking pissed the other day. And let me just show you this. You know what? It's Angie time. Thank you, Delhi. Delhi, thank you so much, by the way. Thank you for being a fucking awesome mod and stomping these idiots down. Where the fuck did I put this tweet? Let me get it. Here you go. Right here. Stop eating from the DNC's trough and realize that nothing short of direct action right now will prevent a Trump win. Letters, protests, confronting politicians, organizing. That's it. You're in fantasy land if you think Biden has a shot in hell versus Trump. Get real, please. And the tweet that preceded this was, I can't believe that there are people citing delegate counts and poll numbers from 3 months ago while we're in a pandemic with a suspended primary and clear tampering with the election. If you can't see that we are in a disaster when a month ago everybody was saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Even scientists were saying, well, it's probably going to be bad, but it might, we can do this. And then they're like, okay, it might not be so good, but okay. If you can't fucking look at that and go, it's been worse every single time up to this moment, you have pundit brain. You have poll brain. You have data scientist brain. And you know what? This is not to degrade science or expertise at all, but it is absolutely possible. It's abso-fucking-lutely possible for you to be blinded by your own sense of expertise in one particular area and not realize that there's flaws with that analysis. And that's what we have with people like this one. When you looked and saw stats for Italy that up to 10% were dying, I thought, fucking hell. Yeah, remember when everybody was talking about, oh, this disease has a lower death rate. And they were wrong at the time, by the way. But they said, oh, it has a lower death rate than the flu. This is nothing to worry about. Guess what, motherfuckers? It's something to worry about. Marinera says, I used to have pundit brain before I got radicalized. My reliance on empiricism opened up a huge weakness in my ability to question and maintain the status quo. Empiricism is incredibly, incredibly valuable, you guys. Like, being able to acknowledge data and look at facts is very valuable. But there's a weakness to always relying on empirical data, which is that empirical data takes a lot of time to determine. And when you are in a crisis, if a bus is coming out, can you imagine? This is what it's like. It's like if whatever this person, Azam, whatever they were, what they were doing in here, the pundit brain approach is a bus is coming at you and you're standing in the middle of the road looking at the bus and you're going, well, I bet if I think that at the speed that it's approaching me at, that I could probably survive and then you get hit by the bus instead of just fucking walking out of the way of the bus. That is the pundit brain. That is genuinely the pundit brain. And it applies very, very, very acutely to both this situation and the Joe Biden situation. Because I've been seeing so much shit around on the internet of people talking about Joe Biden and they're like, well, Joe Biden was winning the primary. And then I'm like, do you remember that the primary isn't happening? That we pushed back the DNC, the actual Democratic National Convention to the fucking middle of summer, and it's probably going to go further back? Have you guys realized that the DNC is still penalizing states if they don't hold their votes in the middle of a fucking pandemic, which many of them have chosen not to, and therefore taken unfair slashes to the weight that their delegates hold? Do you guys realize that democracy currently isn't working? This is what I want to scream out to the fucking left right now, which is that you guys stop fucking talking about Bernie or bust versus fucking Biden. It's such a stupid conversation when we don't even have a primary going right now. Again, it's the whole thing of somebody standing in the way, standing in front of a bus and going, well, you know, what I learned in high school physics is that a bus going out, maybe you survive, maybe you don't. See, empirical data is useful in retrospect. It's useful for studying and preventing future things. Now, there's tons of empirical data that warned us that this could be bad. And we're actually finding out that empirical data wasn't so empirical because it's imperfect, because it was missing considerations. This is a problem. This is a problem with people who try to just use numbers and polls and phone calls and stuff like that for everything. It has huge gaps in where the data is coming from and your own personal cognitive biases. Any scientist who's worth their salt will tell you this. Will tell you that you have to remember that there are potential massive biases of shit that you're completely overlooking when you're doing an experiment. I mean, how many times has this showed up? How many times has there been like a lesson of this, an anecdote of this spread, from your fucking professors? How many people have had a science professor who's told like a silly story about, oh, we were doing this one experiment and we kept getting really weird results, and then it turned out that somebody was fucking touching the petri dishes at night. Somebody brought their kid in and had put their hand in one of the petri dishes and it ruined our experiment. But we had no way of knowing that. And so our numbers were all off. Everybody's heard this shit. It's because it happens all the time. Because data science can only do so much. It can only give you a potential. Marinera says, I've never died from getting hit by a bus. It's highly unlikely for this to happen now. You're overreacting, as the bus literally crushes their bones into dust. Oh no, the angle should have been... God, the force, mass times acceleration. Just makes the fucking Street Fighter noise as they get just ran over by a bus. Insane. New Mosaic says, I got sent a mail-in ballot, thankfully, even though my polling place is literally around the corner. That's good. And places that do mail-in ballots are, like, objectively way better than any other place. Like, mail-in ballots is just the fucking best, one of the best ways to do it. It's so stupid that states don't do that. The only reason they do that is because they know that they can depress the vote of poor people, because poor people are much less likely to A, have time off of work, and B, have transportation. So not having mail-in ballots means that lots and lots of working class poor people don't vote. I mean, there was Delhi sent me this fucking meme the other day. There was I say meme, it's an article, a fucking article about how Donald Trump and many other Republican leaders have said, oh, if there was mail-in ballot systems in the United States, we'd never win another election. You want to know why that is? Do you want to know why it is that they say that? It's because they can suppress the vote of working class and poor people. Under the thunder, someone was using the petri dishes to cook meth. Uh-oh. Can't say that on a stream. In Crusader Kings 2. Oh. Whew. Crusader Kings 2. Dupuis has learned of a fucking conspiracy by Dupuis to kill Dupuis. Marinera says, data is important for sure, but people who overly rely on data have a tendency to have baked in a naive, disproportionate faith in the integrity of institutions against the evidence to the contrary. Yes, you see, what was happening with this guy who we banned is it was like data science was his god. There can't possibly be. We have algorithms too. We have numbers too. But guys, those numbers are spun up on the fly. Mathematicians are doing those now based on the fastest things they can do, and they're trying to estimate. And there are tons of estimations in there. No fucking actual data scientist would ever actually tell you, yeah, this data is going to be the best actual gauge of it. And, by the way, the evidence is already there, seeing as how every other fucking country on Earth has misgauged how bad it was going to be, including us, especially us. Fuck. What the fuck? This pundit brain shit is driving me fucking nuts. I hope that this event is the end of pundit brain, because it is the type of weird, like, ivory tower stuff that's like the actual parody. It's like the shit that right wingers wish that they were smart enough to make fun of. Well, I mean, what I do is talk about shit that drives me nuts on here. Outliers don't exist, right? Fucking Kappa. Humberg or Ace says, well, I'm more of a Captain Kirk kind of guy than a Spock. That's why the ladies find you hot. Oh, all right. All right, fair. Slippery Gerard. Hello, Slippery Gerard. New Mosaic says, yep, some of my classmates were worried about being able to make it home to vote, but I guess they don't have to worry about that. Damn. Who could have seen this coming? I mean, the thing is, the data is useful, but you should not use the data as your maximum. You should always prepare for worse because of unforeseen, circumstances. That's the thing. I'm not speaking about I'm not like saying data is bad. Data is good, but you should never, this guy was literally trying to make the case that the 200,000 dead in America was the high end. That was not the high end. That is not the high end. And if you don't even have to take my word for it, just fucking type it in Google, projections, and you can see 100 different projections from 100 different sources. Most of them are worse than that one. It is good for analyzing past events and preparing for future ones. So we can go, you say, okay, we can take data from, I don't know, pick a random one. Say, oh, the Spanish flu. We can take all the data that we have, which, by the way, of course, will be very lacking. We can say, let's make a projection. Oh, my God, if we were to have a Spanish flu these days, that would be bad, and it would probably be worse than our data said. And then you prepare. Puts on surprisingly good, Under the Thunder says, puts on surprisingly good PJW impression, complete with exaggerated facial expressions. Imagine my shock. It's like, what the fuck? You can track it down. There was also a 1864 says there was also a 2018 report. I believe it was from the State Department. Yeah, there have been numerous reports that have already projected worse numbers than the Trump admin's 200K. And literally, keep in mind, guys, Dr. Anthony Fauci went on the news and was just like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do about Donald Trump? I have to stand there and take it. He's been literally seen on camera laughing, like desperately trying to hold back his laughter at shit that Donald Trump is saying that's so false. And there's nothing he can do because what the fuck are you going to do when you're just a doctor and you're trying to grapple with an AWOL fucking politician who's just saying shit all over the place? Wait a minute. We have two numbered names in here. We have 1864. Wait, I remember 1864. 1864 was cool, right? Yeah, he was never there to begin with, but I mean, the whole point is that he's never been there, but he's literally, like, his whole response this entire time, Donald Trump's whole response has been to just be like, it's not on me. It's not our fault. We're doing great. It's great. We're doing great. We're doing perfect. Did you guys know that, like, even the handful of fucking ventilators comparatively to the need, the handful of ventilators that were in the federal stock, many of them were broken because since Trump took office, they literally haven't been doing maintenance on them? It was like, yeah, I'm an ancient. I'm a demon mama. You gotta know. You gotta know. So wait. 1864 is the cool one. 1875 is yet unknown. We don't know about 1875. 1875, welcome to chat. I will admit for a second I got you guys mixed up, but I didn't know for sure. Marinara says, we operate on the assumption that nothing we're warned about will ever happen. Yeah, America runs on the assumption that nothing bad will ever happen. None of our stores, do you know that American stores run on something that's called a zero inventory system. Like, they call it that. It's not like us. It's not lefties calling it that. They call it a zero inventory system because the intention is that because of the internet and blah, 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 and their cheap ass labor, because they don't have to pay anybody anything anymore. They don't have to pay fucking health insurance. They don't have to give you benefits. They can just have 1 million part-time workers and give them no fucking benefits and no protections because it's so cheap to get labor, and the internet exists so they can do logistics and numbers and projections. Stores run on what's called a zero inventory system. Everything that they get in, they immediately put out on the floor to sell. They don't keep any back rooms. I don't know if any of you were like me and worked retail in like high school and shit. When I was in high school, I worked in retail, and we used to have an inventory room where you would have extra stock of a lot of things. That's not a thing that happens very much anymore. You will sometimes have a little bit, maybe a tiny, tiny bit, maybe a couple extra boxes at max, but most of the time it goes right out. And in fact, many of you have maybe seen this yourself. If you go to a Walmart, especially recently, Walmarts will just put pallets of product right out on the floor. So yeah. Yep, and then Marinara continues, and when something bad does happen, it falls on the working class through austerity and shaming. Absolutely. There's no social safety net. There's nothing for the working class to fall back on. And so they shame people into saying, oh, how dare you? Like that Ben Shapiro clip we watched yesterday. How dare you strike when you signed up and signed a contract that was already slanted against you to work a job that originally was, you're going to carry boxes around. It's exactly what the Staten Island Amazon team, the guy who was leading the Staten Island strike, he wrote a letter. And in his letter, he said that. He said, when I signed up for this job, the only requirements were that I could lift 50 pounds and, that I was like literate and had and could communicate on the job. And wasn't like, they, of course. But the basic thing is you just need to be able to lift 50 pounds and be able to sign into our app. That's all you need to be able to do. And now they're saying, no, you need to be able to protect yourself from a disease. You need to be delivering into quarantines. That is not what people signed up for. And the companies who have billions of dollars in profit are saying, well, fuck you. Keep delivering or die. I mean, why do you think there are 10 million people applying for fucking unemployment if you don't think corporations are saying fuck you? Because it's not just corporations, it's not just companies that are going out of business, it's companies saying, oh, you don't want to work for us? Fuck you. Then we'll just shut down this branch and we'll keep going out of the other one where we can get scabs to go do the work. Humbug Horace. Oh, I got it. I think I figured out your name. Humbug Horace. Well, they will pump hundreds of billions into the financial institutions and banks and then starve social democratic capital. Yes, that is absolutely happening. Financial writers and journalists have called it the money bazooka because of how much money is being fired directly into the financial sector. That's fucking insane. Delhi says, literally over here, companies are being offered 80% wages for workers, and they're still choosing to lay people off and such. Yeah, because it's not profitable. Because it's more profitable for them to shutter their doors and sit on their giant mountain of gold than it is for them to offer their employees any sort of fucking additional wages during this time. Oh, Delhi, don't even start, unfortunately. I wish that I could say we had the sense. We don't. Right now, we haven't even figured out how it's going to happen. Just this morning, Steve Mnuchin was on the news, and they were asking him, well, how are people who don't already have an account with the IRS going to get access to these checks that are entitled to everybody, that have been given to everyone? And he said, well, we'll figure that out. We're going to have that set up. We'll have that set up. Just kept saying that over and over and over. Yeah, we'll have that set up. No answers. They don't know how they're going to do it. So right now he's saying, in 2 weeks' time. So we still have to wait another 2 weeks, by the way, before we even see that check. And then that check will only be going out to people who already have an account with the IRS, which is not a lot. That's lots of people, but not everyone. And then, get this, it's been discovered that the $1,200 is a lien. It's a loan against your future taxes. So next year you will potentially, no one knows for sure, you might even have to pay the government back. I mean, people who have taxes will pay the government back because their tax rebate for next year will be reduced as it currently stands. And that might mean that people who don't make that much next year may have to literally pay out of pocket to the government. So that's the state that we're in the United States right now. And I just keep going back to this fucking tweet. This one right here. We have to do letters. We have to confront politicians. We have to protest. We have to organize. We have to talk to each other because that's it. That's it. Spreading the information. The news is not doing it for us. This right here, what we're doing right now, is a more accurate analysis of the news than what a lot of news stations are doing right now because they're not even confronting some of this stuff. Marinara says, have you seen the recent insane coordinated pressure on Bernie to drop out? Yes, I have. And I think it is genuinely insane. Genuine lunacy. Absurd. Humbug Horace says, now real tough grafters who work all the shit jobs and break their backs for peanuts, none of them can stand Amazon. All the petty rules like permission to go to the bathroom. Oh, dude, it gets so much worse than that. It gets so much worse. There was a really fucking great episode of The Majority Report. I mean, this was months ago. I can't even fucking remember when I watched this. But they interviewed a woman who wrote a book about working at Facebook. I think she worked at Facebook. She worked at Amazon. And she worked at Walmart. And she just wrote her experiences working there. And she said that Amazon is one of the most insane places to work. You have to carry a little app around and you have to check in sometimes as little as every 18 seconds to do your tasks because they want to have the data. They want to have the information on how long everything takes so they can make more strict standards to hold people to. And if you're late, you get penalized immediately by an app. And then if you want to fix it, if you want to not get docked pay, you have to go fucking talk to your manager. Pooping Out Loud says, of course, the poor people money is a loan and the rich people get a straight bailout. This whole response to COVID has just been a way to siphon money straight up. Yeah, I agree. Siphon the money. American corporatism is out of control. It is no longer corporatism. This is no longer capitalism. This is 100% just straight up theft. Everyone is being grifted because it's on paper, but it still can be theft even when it's on paper. Even when you're doing it by means of tricking people, by means of misleading people, of taking their stuff, using whatever it is, whether you're evicting people or you're fucking getting people's politicians to take all of the money that they pay in their taxes and have a certain amount of faith in the government to use effectively. This is beyond corporatocracy. We've literally gone into robber baron era. This is worse. N- 1864 says, I'm very sorry to hear the first case of COVID-19 within our borders. We will respond quickly and effective. President Hillary Clinton? I don't know what that means. Maybe I missed something. Humbug Horace. The DNC is offering Trump light when capitalism is tanking, and against that backdrop, Bernie will have a good chance. Yes, that is true. Bernie is standing out. However, at the moment, people still think that people are still behaving as if the primary is advancing as usual. Well, it's not advancing as usual. We need to be able to acknowledge that, and we need to start putting pressure on the DNC. So I don't know what that means, and I'm still trying to figure that out exactly myself, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to start writing to the leadership of the DNC, to people like Tom Perez. I think Tom Perez, did he step down? I don't even fucking remember. But we need to start strategizing around that and going, listen, the people all know that the primary this year is a sham because of the pandemic. If we put pressure on the DNC to reform, to make adjustments to this, such that, because I think even the DNC is starting to realize that Biden doesn't have a shot against Trump. He doesn't have a shot in hell against Trump. Biden literally cannot talk right now. He couldn't count. He was answering a woman, was asking him about fucking how she's going to pay for her $2,000 deductible that she just got billed for getting treatment for what is assumed to be COVID. She can't get a test for it. And because she went to the hospital, she got a $2,000 bill. And she asked Joe Biden directly on national television how he was going to answer that. And he forgot how to count in that conversation. He skipped from 1 to fucking 3. And his answers were incoherent. Fucking coherent. We've gone over this on stream 100 times. What we need to do is pressure the DNC to acknowledge the fact that they're going to lose the election, and not only that, but that millions of Americans are going to lose their lives. We need to show them how many of us are mad about this. Because that is the only way that in a time like this, we make a change. I don't see how there's any other way around it. If we just let the primary go on however they decide to do it, it's going to be something that gets people sick. We can see that Wisconsin, I believe, is the next primary. They're still going ahead with their vote, with their intention to vote, when we know that we're in the heat of the worst pandemic this world perhaps has ever seen. Insane. Yep. So that is what I'm trying to say. What I'm hopefully getting across is that we need to radically rethink the way that we do politics right now, because our old way of doing politics isn't working. Oh, let me see what you have to say. Give me just a second here. This like sort of just waiting and watching the polls and dropping your one vote in is not going to work. And the result, if we don't put pressure directly onto the politicians to make the necessary changes so that the system is equitable during a pandemic, I can't even imagine what's going to happen. Not just 4 more years of Trump, but 4 more years of Trump where he has the military delivering directly to fucking the financial industry so they can resell to our hospitals. Let's see what Under the Thunder says. In Victoria, too, we must get a far lefty into power to utterly destroy every single corporation, collapse the world economy, build a new, actually egalitarian, humanitarian United States from its ashes. Bonus, use all the money we got from breaking up those corporations to literally fucking buy Canada. Now, this is epic, Garf. Biden can't beat him. Let's get serious. He can lose, just not to Biden, says 1875. Yes, I agree. Biden will not be able to beat Trump. I don't know. Maybe there's some miracle situation where that's the case, but I don't know that Biden is even going to be around at this point for November. I think that we're politically stunned. We're politically dumbfounded at the moment because for whatever reason, people can't think outside of the very, very basic electoral framework. And that is the pundit brain speaking, I think. I think part of it is a safety blanket. I think it's that if you think that there's a system that's going to work and save you, you're less likely to move. I don't know. That sounds a little bit like accelerationism light or something. I don't know. But what I do know is that if we don't actually take seriously the fact that the institution is not working, the institution is currently derailed, if we don't even at least make an attempt to re-rail something, we will not have a democracy. We will not have a democratically elected president. So, yeah. Let's see. Pooping out loud. Bernie's delegate count is behind where it should be. However, this is actual bonkers territory. We have an incoherent rapist frontrunner going up against a guy whose response to COVID-19 was to blatantly lie while his corporate partners cashed out. I don't think we the people even have a chance to win. Not as it stands. Not if we let it be the way that it is. But we do have a chance if we start thinking differently. We do have a chance if we start thinking differently and we say, wait a second, this is a serious emergency and we need to seriously confront the way that we've been going about doing politics. Yes, Bernie's delegate count was behind as of 2 months ago or a month ago. Nobody even can keep track of time. We're seeing people who are our lead figures in politics disoriented. They don't even know. Everyone's getting fucking bowled over by this shit. So it's up to us to go, wait a second. Okay. It's like if you get hit by a wave on the beach, all of a sudden, you can either choose to just let the wave carry you out to sea, or you can say, hold on a second. I'm going to try and reorient. Okay. I can see the sunlight. I need to recover. All right. I'm treading water. All right. Okay. I can breathe. Yes, things are not good. I got hit by a wave, but I'm swimming. There's a lot of people who are just letting themselves kind of go limp with whatever the fucking wave takes them. But we can't do that. We have to say no. Like, we want something. We want something better than this. We're not going to stand by while the government just shells out to corporations. Humbug Horace says, in this new viral age of blood and iron, only the strong will survive and Demon Mama will be our Valkyrie. Kind of. I appreciate that you think I'm going to be a Valkyrie. I am determined to fight. I mean, I psyched myself up all morning so I can go, you know what? We're going to fucking do this. I was feeling pretty fucking shit this morning. And I said, nope, I got to get out there and I got to get on stream because you know what? Somebody might hear me and who knows? Maybe even if it just convinces one person to keep fighting, then we're in a better place than we were if I didn't. Okay now. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. Hey, get the fuck... Oh, that's unfair. Now that's unfair. Here we go. Let's see if this works now. I'm going to put on automatic. I got a phone call, and those are supposed to be suppressed, but the person called me so many times that it went through, and it fucking turned off my damn camera. This is the kludged together shit that I got to deal with. Oh, Snowdrift says, I'm about to go nap. Gonna lurk for the viewer count. Aw, thank you. Snowdrift, no joke. Much, much love. Mwah. I've been listening to your fucking track on repeat lately. You go get some rest. The thing is, I think that the timing on that cam fail, was it bad? Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was about to say something cool too. But here, I can still say something cool, which is strength comes from a number of sources. We do not have to give in to fucking strong men. We can create strength together. You create strength by fucking sitting down and finding out what the people around you need. And that is what I'm trying to learn. And something that I'm very devoted to. Going forward, I really want to start taking certain segments of my stream to really strategize and say, how do we go forward from here? How do we build things so that we have strength together? Because in a world where, I mean, let's be real. I am a trans woman. I have struggled with mental illness. A lot of people in my community are in the same place. We are not traditionally strong people. We are not the traditional strong men who are, we will do this. However, we do have incredible strength. And most of it comes from the fact that we have fucking iron will and we actually believe in shit. I want to catch up on some of these chats real quick. Humbug Horace says, well, I'm a Nixon revisionist. He was hung out for ending McNamara's war, and they liberally, like the Wall Street Journal, put the boot in when he threatened to draft their special kids. I don't know about that. I don't know enough about that. And then Gurney is Bay says, if you get pulled out by the sea, your odds of survival are higher if you let yourself get pulled out to sea instead of wasting your energy trying to swim. Not if you're on shore, dude. Have you ever swam in the ocean? That's not true. If you are getting pulled under by undertow, yes, you're not supposed to flail, but you're supposed to orient yourself. I never said to flail. I literally said the opposite. I said orient yourself, figure out where it is, get yourself so you can tread water, and then figure out where you can go. You don't just fucking let yourself get pulled under the water by fucking undertow. Like, this is silly. But again, you're stretching the metaphor. Deli says, look, if anyone wants Valkyries, I'm like 6 feet. Really want to learn melee combat and would probably look pretty intimidating in armor. I agree, Deli. You would look awesome in armor. Someday you'll get armor. Let's see. Let me just take a look here real quick. This is the democracy index. We're like what? Like light green? That's a stretch. Here we go. The World Press Freedom Index. Oof. 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 That hurts. I wish I knew a little more about that. Yeah, don't get yourself... Deli says, don't let yourself get pulled by Undertale. Number 4, Netherlands. Is this, like, the best? Yeah, I imagine that. I've been to the Netherlands. They seem like a pretty chill place overall. They got some weird shit that they do. Some really weird holidays and shit, but I don't know. It seemed chill. 1 second. I'm going to grab a drink. 1 second. Yeah, I know. That's true. States, right? Am I right? But yeah. No. I'm not gonna. I don't know enough about it. I've just heard some things. Yeah. It's a tradition. It's a tradition. Sure. Okay. All right. If you say so. Again, I'm not from there. I can't really judge. All I know is it seems kind of yikesy. Little yikesy. That's all I can say, really. I had another thing I wanted to go over with. Don't worry about it. Let me just bring this up. This was another little MR report segment that I wanted to watch. Here, let's watch this real quick. This is just going to nail the point home about Biden. It's fine. I don't know if it's fine. I genuinely don't know. Let's watch this. I wanted to go over this because it's pretty.
No, there's no doubt the failure of the Democrats to set this up in terms of politically has been astonishing.
Oh, wait, yeah, Snowdrift, New Mosaic, Snowdrift, who's often in my chat, made a really fucking good song. And you should look them up on they're on Spotify. It's snow.drift, is their like artist name, and you should totally check it out. It's like super lush rock, really chill song, with fucking. It's so fucking catchy. I've been listening to it a whole bunch, so I always promote it because I genuinely really like the song.
I mean,
but let's watch this.
You almost need to sit down and make a plan on how to mitigate the impact of this on him politically to do what they're doing. I mean, we have the presumptive front runner, the presumptive nominee, Joe Biden, did a stream from his home, and we know how challenging that is. Presumably, Joe Biden has better bandwidth than Matt does, and maybe a slightly better router. He had 2,800 people on his stream.
Yeah, that's right. Biden pulled 2,800 viewers. Like, I know. I know. Oh. Ow! Look at what I did. Anyway, I was saying Biden only pulled 2,800. Yeah, that's less than a Vosh video. That's like a Vosh video game stream. The presumptive nominee could only pull 2,800. Remember that time when he put a thumbs up in the chat once? That's like oof levels.
800 people. Before we went down today, we had 7,000.
Yep.
And I don't like, and the guy's not going to debate. The reason why Joe Biden should be debating is because that's the only thing that's going to get any attention for him. And if he can't debate, then we have a serious problem. I mean, like, we need to have a leader coming from the Democratic Party now, right? And like I say, we can see the limitations that everyone has in the opposition party as it is. I mean, put this aside from the Democratic primary. There needs to be someone who steps up and can actually sort of
following.
like
Hope
put
to
this
see you again in the future. And don't forget, you can always catch the VODs. I always keep my VODs up, and I've been trying to put them on YouTube too.
Here.
I've been uploading a whole bunch of my videos to YouTube. So if you guys ever miss anything on here and you feel like watching it on YouTube, you can always watch it on there. Or, well, okay, once I get them up, you'll be able to watch it on there. There are VODs on Twitch, but I'm also putting stuff up on YouTube now. So that'll be fun. I'm also editing segments on YouTube. So that there's like certain areas where I talk about something specific. I'm going to try and put that on to have like a little video, so people who don't want to watch the whole stream can catch a segment. I know this is a really petty thing to say, but could the people who end up with super good politics brains have better voices? Please, for the love of all this. Hey, I thought I had an okay voice. Anyway, Sam has a great voice. I find Sam's voice soothing.
I think that's the word, and nobody has that capacity. There isn't a single. This is why I keep reaching to people I'm not a fan of.
Joe Biden should debate
Bill Clinton. They can go and do a national address and say,
so epic.
Here's what he did with the pandemic office. Here's the timeline on the warnings, and here is a path forward to protect your health and economy. And you can make that as moderate and non-bold as you want. You need to do something. But you don't need to outline again. You need
I don't know
have
if,
some
if
leadership
Obama
capacity.
and Clinton, Bill Clinton, let's say,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, even if you bring back FDR and have them come in from the sidelines and do it, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to become
Jesus fucking
like
Christ.
the story is immediately going to spin off it. That's why you use the stimulus as that platform. You use the Democratic primary as that platform. Like,
Yeah,
Joe
whatever.
Biden should be
Sure.
going to, because look, Sanders showed in the last primary, in the last debate, that he was not going to go hard at Joe Biden.
Which I wish he
He
would
had
have.
multiple opportunities to go hard at Joe Biden, both on a policy level, on a person.
Humbug Horace says, will Sam Cedar ban you for saying that backing a corrupt racist for the cause, that's a real act of liberal sophistry? I don't know. Did Sam ban you, or was it one of his mods? Keep in mind that, like, I don't think Sam does any modding of his communities. Like, he doesn't really do tech. So it was probably one of his mods. And all I can say to that is, this shit happens. Sometimes you piss off a mod and it sucks. But I wouldn't take it personally. I wouldn't take it personally. I mean, I don't think he backs Biden. I think this is pretty clear. I mean, his team put up a thing called Joe Biden has nothing left, and they're talking about how they have no other choice. But yes, I think that Sam Cedar has determined that if there was no other option available, if he's put into that position, he will vote Biden. I think a lot of people would, for that harm reduction reason, I guess. Though I don't know. Certain things about Joe Biden are, I would argue that he is not harm reduction in certain areas. He might be harm reduction in others. You would vote Trump. I mean, I know there's some people who are saying that, but I don't know. This is a topic that really, like, again, irks me. I think it's I think like the optics and the strategic judgment to be having a discussion of Biden versus Bernie or bust is really silly to be having during the middle of a pandemic that's completely upending every single institution in our nation. Hey, Alabama man, good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate your presence. Hopefully you'll get cozy and hang out with us. I wouldn't recommend voting for Trump. What I would recommend, anybody here in chat, instead of worrying about whether you're riding with Biden or blue no matter who, or Bernie or bust, maybe think about preventing that in the first place. And the way that we do that, as far as I can tell right now, and of course, this is developing because nobody, not even the smartest pundits in the world, not even the most equipped political agents, the people who know how to do politics, none of them know what to do right now. So I can barely know, but I can say I have a vague idea, which is that we need to apply pressure directly to the DNC to ensure that it isn't a choice between Biden versus Trump. Because if it is a choice between Biden versus Trump, it will be Trump no matter what. Trump will win. I can tell you right now that only a fool would think that Biden is going to be able to get the turnout necessary to not only beat Trump, but to overcome the loss that Hillary even had. Hillary at least had some people inspired. Some people were riding with Hillary. Some people were ready to go for the high road or whatever the fuck her slogans were. They were going to Pokemon go to the polls for Hillary. Nobody's going to fucking Pokemon go to the polls for Joe Biden 330, corn pop, smoothing my leg hairs. He's a loser. He's a loser. He lost the entire way. He lost the entire primary season until a ridiculous level of political maneuvering resulted in all three of the people who were in his lane leaving. Keep in mind, a lot of the poll numbers that people even cite about Biden are stupid to even think about because the choice was removed. They would have gone for a Klobuchar, or they would have gone for a Pete, or they would have gone for a Warren, but those choices were removed because the candidate stepped out to try and channel their power directly to Biden. So these analyses are fucking upside down. It's a stupid analysis to make. Again, it's the bus thing. It always goes back to the bus. It's like having a bus coming at you from a distance and you're just standing in the middle of the road trying to calculate whether the force from the bus will actually shatter your bones or just leave you horrendously, like, broken. Spectral Melody says, just an aside, I am passing on rent strike info to delivery drivers, and that makes me happy. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. You know what? Fuck yes. That is amazing. What the fuck? If guys, that is worthy of a gifted sub to somebody if I've ever heard of one. If anybody has the generosity to gift a sub to Spectral Melodies right now, that would be genuine praxis. Not only would you be helping my channel, but you would be rewarding the wonderful Spectral Melodies who is doing genuine praxis. So if anybody feels an urge of generosity, you should give it towards Spectral Melodies today. I swear to God. That is a fucking good idea. See, this is the sort of creative stuff that you should do. Like, sometimes from home, there's not much you can do. Just passing out information, you can literally... Fuck yeah. Fuck yes. Thank you, Marinara. Your generosity is beyond belief and goes to a fucking great place. That is praxis. This is the sort of shit we need to start thinking about. What are ways that we can disseminate information and build power that doesn't require us to go through the fucking tube city that is the federal government right now? If you try to ask for help from the federal government, there is like 15 layers of incompetence currently that have failed before you are even going to get the help you need. Now, that's not to say that certain programs like SNAP or unemployment right now aren't working in some areas. It's just that there's no guarantee. There is one guaranteed thing that we can do, which is if we build power together, if we build new organizations, dual power structures, we will be in a much better place. And that is how you do that. That is how you fucking do that. Fuck yes. History. Oh, hey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, update. Bullshit. I like telling people how people in history did things to change the future. Yes, that is something to consider. That graph that we watched this morning. Here, let me put the graph back up for a few minutes because I want to talk about this a little bit. Let me get the graph. Let me get the graph, the fun graph. Here we go. Here's everybody's favorite graph. So this graph right here, you know what this graph says? This graph shows us that we are living in fucking history. From 1968, it looks like is where this starts. We have never seen something to this degree. And we can project, you know, relatively reasonably in the past that it wasn't this severe even in the Great Depression. No one alive right now has seen a moment this historical, this unbelievable, this fucking, what's the right word? Paradigm shift. A paradigm shift in history. And we are living through it. And you know what that means? That means sometimes that an idea that would have been brushed off 10 minutes ago because it would have been impossible is no longer impossible. Hell yeah. History buff. That's so sweet. History buff is a pristine well of useful info and cuddles. Aw, that's really sweet. Yes, history can be really good, but also remember that sometimes, especially for lefties, if you look at the immediate last like 50 years of history, it hasn't gone so well for lefties. There has been a right-wing dominance of I mean, okay, that's not entirely true. We've had wins, but they've come at great cost. But this right here is showing us that their system isn't working. And not only is it not working, it's not working to a degree that we've never seen. Do you guys think that any point in history things have ever changed this fast? Ever. I can't even think, like, short of, like, literally when the meteor struck into Earth and fucking killed off the dinosaurs, is probably the last time that we've had such an immediate and sudden shift. Because of the way humans are connected, because of the way that we've begun to share data instantly, because of the fact that our economy has built in such a way to be completely global, the entire world is shaking from all of this. And that means that we are in a unique moment to rethink our strategies, to rebuild, and to start laying down the foundations of what's going to come next. Yeah, you saw this, you thought that was a border. No. That is literally, we're up past, there's 6 million. This is old now already. We're already up past 10 million jobless claims. That's pretty insane. That's pretty intense. That's pretty fucking insane, isn't it? Yeah, line go way up. Way, way, way up. Such that the 1980s is barely a blip on the radar. Yes, Spectral Melodies. The human power is the ability to imagine things that don't technically exist and make them happen. Yeah, we can intercompare, we can talk, we can communicate, and guess what? We're able to teach and we're able to advance. That's something that no other creature on Earth is really able to do. No other creature on Earth is able to learn something in their lifetime and then give that knowledge to their kids or to their ideological kids. I like to refer to that because, you know, there's a essentialism that some people get hooked on when they say, oh, like, it's directly to your children. It's not. It's not just to your kids. We all, those of us who may never have kids, I will never, like, I might be able to adopt someday. Who knows? We'll see. But I will never be able to have, like, blood children of my own. But that doesn't matter because I am able to pass my information to other people. It's ideological heritage. You're able to teach and learn and advance the world in that way. There was a really, really cute way of imagining science, which is imagine that all of human knowledge is a little circle, right? It's a circle like this. And when you start out on the road to becoming a scientist, you're a dot in the middle. And the life of a scientist, I should probably go like this. The life of a scientist is running from that middle point as hard and as fast as you can all the way out to the outside of the circle and then pinging into the wall, and you dent it out just a little bit, so that there's just a tiny little dent on the edge of the circle. Tiny little dent. And that is the work of a scientist. And if tons of scientists keep going and pinging into the wall, it dents, and eventually, slowly, the circle of human knowledge gets bigger. The circle of human efficacy gets bigger. And we are doing the same thing on a social level. We're doing the same thing on a political level. And it's this gathering of information, figuring out what we learn, giving it to other people, and leaving that for the next humans that come, and for the human and making a better future for the humans that are currently alive. Scientists are energized gas particles, basically, but we all are to a certain degree, right? I mean, there's that saying, you know, we stand on the shoulders of giants. I think every person is like that. Like, there are humans who made labor changes that are benefiting us even now in these dark times, like improvements that were improved upon the 1915 labor laws that would have had children work. I mean, for example, we don't have child labor. We don't utilize, I mean, there's certain examples of it. Yes, we know there's still some cases, farms and stuff like that have some exemptions where children do still sometimes work. But I mean, in 1915, lots of kids were working. Lots of kids were working in factories, like getting their arms chopped off and stuff. That doesn't happen anymore. That was because of people like us. People like us who fucking stood up and said something and wrote letters and fucking annoyed the shit out of politicians. Spectral Melody says, forged in the heart of a star, I am come to meme and rouse the rabble. I love it. I love it. We are but lily pads floating on the pond of time. Yeah, but we're really interesting lily pads with really interesting ideas, and we have we're living through a crazy time, but we have a chance to actually fucking change things. Snowdrift Moon says, hey, welcome back, Snowdrift. We need to soy pill everyone on socialism now. I woke up because my roommate and this stream has me too interested. Oh, thank you. I hope I can keep you entertained. I do agree, though. I do. I agree that we need to that people need to wake up about socialism, because like it's not really it's not that foreign of a concept. It feels foreign because we've been locked in these cages. We've all been working our asses off and grinding and hustling all the time. We've been working multiple jobs, or we've been hiding away without the treatment that we need, or a million other things. There's 100 things. You guys all know this. I'm sure you all have pains like this in your life. You have these things that have been stopping you from being able to do anything that you want. You know what I mean? You know, and we find we steal moments like of stuff that we're not supposed to have. Maybe you know, are lucky and you get a cool console or a computer or something, or like me, where I'm really lucky and I was able to get this nice apartment. But like all of us are struggling and we have to fight every day like tooth and nail to even live a basic life. But the thing is that that's kind of, that's not the way it's always been. This is a local, as we can see, this is a really, really bad moment. Nobody has ever lived through a time quite this severe in this particular way. And as a result, it means it's time to fucking rethink those things. The cages are being shattered. It's like having been living, imagine like you were stuck in a prison and then the guards are nowhere to be seen and you're just trapped. And then all of a sudden there's an earthquake and your fucking little cage falls down and cracks open. And you're like, oh shit, my muscles are all weak. But like, wait a minute, I'm not in the cage anymore. And that's kind of what this is. This is a wake-up moment for a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. We should have never been in the cages in the fucking first place. But like ideologically, mentally, socially, this is what's happening. People's cages are being rattled and they're breaking out and going, wait a second, I don't have to live my life this way. We don't have to live this way. And I don't know. I think that's a pretty fucking inspiring thing. Spectral Melody says, family of choice is family. We bond with Roombas. The world is our family, neurologically speaking. Yes, it really is. That is the cool thing. Humans, as we connect more and more, we basically become like a giant fucking collective brain. It's cool as shit. We can share our ideas and that person will carry with us, carry a part of them with us, and we will carry a part of them, with us, and they'll carry a part of us with them. There we go. I got it mixed up, but you got it. You got the picture. It's pretty fascinating, and that's something that is really worth thinking about. Snowdrift Moon says, I started breaking down worker co-ops to a right-leaning friend of mine, and he was like, wait, what? Oh, that sounds good, actually. I'm like, yeah, that's socialism, bud. Yeah, worker co-ops are fucking a great way to get through to business-minded people. They're a fucking great way to get through to, like, business-minded people. Deli says, I'm a very loud piece of trash, and maybe if I am loud and interesting, enough people will think a bit. That's a very uncomfortable way to explain it, but yeah, I mean, we're all little bugs, kind of, but we're cool bugs, and some of us are fucking smart and realize, hey, maybe if we all team together, we can actually fucking have some strength. We can actually have some political power. I don't think it's nice to call yourself a piece of trash, because you're not. Nobody here is a piece of trash. Maybe some people on my ban list are, but nobody here right now. Marinara says, reactionaries and right-wingers don't think in terms of concepts. They think in terms of labels. Lots of them would agree with the policies and then reject them when they hear the scare words. Yeah, that's true. To a degree, yes. That is true to a degree, but sometimes you do have the opportunity. Some right-wingers are just kind of like calloused into the way that they are. Some right-wingers are really genuinely just horrific people. There are a lot of very intellectually lazy, sociopathic right-wingers. However, a lot of them are just that way because that's the way that they've been for the longest time. And you can rattle their cage sometimes by getting under there and taking off the terminology and giving them the concept and then showing them, linking them to how that is a different idea and how they should be more open to different ideas. It's a really hard struggle, and it's something that like I don't necessarily want to tune my channel towards doing that. I don't think tuning whole channels towards appealing to right wingers is like effective or anything like that. But as an individual, if you have someone in your life who like is a part of your family or like they're a friend or something like that, they're not necessarily too far gone. Not necessarily. Just saying. Nah, Under the Thunder. Nah, nope. None of that doomer shit. No way. That's not true. That is not true. I don't agree with your analysis. If everybody who was having a tough point in their life, if everybody who was a little bit lonely at the moment was a shit incel, that would just be everybody. Everybody's had a fucking sad moment, especially when you're young. You're young as fuck, aren't you? You're pretty fucking young. You're fine. Just be kind to yourself, for God's sake, please. Yeah, exactly. Don't be mean to yourself. It's not fucking kind. That shit doesn't make you feel good. Don't be mean to yourself like that. Seriously. We have to be kind to ourselves, or else we will not have the energy necessary to be kind to others. Spectral Melodies says, bad people don't feel bad about themselves. You're disappointed with your failures, and that means you want to do better. Yeah, it's possible to be disappointed with your failures or what you perceive as failures. It's possible but a lot of bad people just don't fucking think about it. The reason why they're bad is they don't fucking care. They just go through their lives just rolling over anybody. The alt-right wants you to hate yourself. That's right. Don't do their fucking job. There you go, Under the Thunder. Under the Thunder, you're just turning fucking 18. You're fine. Relax. You're fine. You got to take Vosh's advice, and if you can't take my advice, take Vosh's advice and listen to him when he says, you're fine. You're fucking fine. Just give yourself some time. Nobody is going to be doing great right now. Nobody's going to be nobody's fucking having tons of sex or anything right now. Nobody's doing shit right now. We're all just sitting at home and eating snacks and talking about politics and trying to do whatever we can from the confines of our home. So don't fucking take that out on yourself. The world is a cruel ass place. Don't take it out on yourself, for God's sake. Oh, here. What's this? There's a link here. What is this? The Battle of Blair Mountain. I can't show that on stream, I don't think. I have a longer documentary on Blair Mountain. Companies are trying to level Blair Mountain for mountaintop removal mining. Do they need this? Nope. They just want to destroy a place where miners stood up to corporations. Oh, is this the company town? Huh. Maybe drop this in my Discord and I can watch it later. This sounds interesting. But yeah. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, I understand there's nothing to do. There's nothing to. I live in a fucking urban area and there's nothing to do. Nobody can do anything right now. Just remember, be kind to yourself. Marinara says, all I did today was get my prescription filled, and I consider it a good day. Hey, good on you for doing that. Seriously, good on you. It's you have to literally, it's silly. It seems silly and a platitude, but you really have to give yourself credit for the little things right now. You really do. It is a shit ass time. We have to give ourselves credit. We're doing our best to survive through this, and all of you who are here are engaging with thinking about the future in a way that most people never do. So if nothing else, give yourself credit for that. Even if we're just on our little stream on the internet, all of us are thinking about better ways to fix the future, and that makes us in a much better position than somebody who doesn't fucking think about it ever. If you never think about the future, if you never think about what you want the world to be, you're destined to just get whatever world comes to you. And sometimes that's pretty fucking bad. Yeah, we're not doing shit around here. Everybody's just fucking sitting inside. Sometimes people will go outside for a little walk or something, but that's not that much. I do agree, Spectral Melodies. It can get to you over time. I mean, when we lived rural, it was maddening, and that's why I think for me it was engaging with stream. Before I was a streamer, last year, I was just in people's chats. I would just go hang out in chats and talk to people, and it's not perfect, but it was something. I'm here now, right? I didn't lose it. I was able to use stream chats and bonding with people over Twitter and all that sort of stuff, and Discord and video games, using these sort of digital things to build a social net even when you're remote. And it's not perfect because it is really important to do things in person, but it's really hard to do right now. It's just objectively hard to do during a pandemic. And I think that's something that we're gonna have to start grappling with as time goes on, because this pandemic is gonna go on a lot longer. We aren't even close to the end of this shit, and I know that that's hard, but I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that we are. We're probably a far way away. There's probably going to be a lot. Prepare yourself for that mentally and do your best to keep fighting. Don't fucking give up. Keep fucking fighting, because it's really goddamn important that we all keep fighting. We need to be around. The fucking good people here, these fucking amazing people in my chat, all of you fuckers, I want you guys around here on the other end of this shit. So take good care of yourself and fucking hunker down. And just remember, boredom can't fucking kill you in the end of the day. It's miserable. It's terrible, but it can't fucking kill you. If you need to go troll around on League of Legends or some stupid shit like that to get through this time, do it. Do what you need to do to get through this time. Be smart, but do what you need to do to get through this time. And don't fucking give yourself so much of a hard time, you goddamn bastards. All of you, you fuckers, be kind. Be fucking kind to yourselves. I know you're all very kind to everyone else. I see you all being very loving and cute and wholesome in chat, and then you go home and you beat the shit out of yourselves. What the fuck? The fuck is that shit? Demon Mama says, none of that shit. Stop. It's time to stop. Where's the clock? I don't have a clock. Pretend a clock. It's time to fucking stop. It's time to stop hating yourselves. It's time to be kind. I know it's hard. I'm not just fucking telling you that, but I'm saying you have to make it an active thing. It seems silly and stupid that you would have to make it, like, make being nice to yourself an active thing. But you do. Especially when you're in a fucking pandemic. Especially when you're in a fucking pandemic. Yeah, well, you know what, New Mosaic? I love you all enough to make you uncomfortable. A little. I love you all enough to say, fucking stop being so goddamn mean to yourselves, for fuck's sake. Self-care is a revolutionary act. I agree. I think it is. I think that being able to care for yourself in a non-toxic way, like, I mean, there are people who will bend the world around themselves. This is like the narcissist type who will bend the world to try and, like, ease their hurts. But that is not self-love. Self-love is genuinely being kind to yourself. It's knowing when you need to stop, when you need a break, when you need to take a minute, take an extra day, when you need to say, okay, I'm not going to push myself to the breaking point because I care about myself. That's what self-love is. And that's what self-care is. Self-care is knowing that you have limits, is recognizing that you're human and that if you want to keep going on, that you have to give yourself time to rest. You have to give yourself the food that you need. You have to give yourself some treats sometimes, for fuck's sake. Like, that's what is revolutionary, is that caring. Under the Thunder says, you're right, I do have friends and my family life is decent, but I'm a submissive autistic guy from rural Virginia, so there's no way in hell anyone would want to date me. Don't do that. That's the incel shit. You don't fucking know that shit. You don't know where you're going to be in 2 years. You don't know who you're going to meet in 2 years. You don't know who you're going to meet in 2 days. Give it some time. Don't tell yourself these lies. That's so not true. Like, I could tell you the most wildest shit. I'm 30 now. And that gives me a little bit of a different perspective. Because, 10 more years will teach you some things. And you have no fucking clue the crazy adventures you might go on. Just don't tell yourself it's over, because then you start approaching things as if there's no point to do them. And that's stupid, because then you miss out on the things that will make you happier. You have to keep your mind open. You have to keep your mind open, and you have to realize that you don't know the world yet. You don't know what the world has in store for you yet. And yes, sometimes there are bad things. There are pandemics, whatever, but you also don't know what amazing things. If I had given up when I first came out and everything went to hell and my family was just fucking terrible to me. If I had given up then, I never would have met my girlfriends. My girlfriend, Shada, who's often in chat, I've been with her for almost 5 years now. Maybe 5 years. I can't think of the date right now. I'm fucking crazy. It's one of those things. You will make some friends. You will meet some people. Just give yourself some time. You've got, what, you said like 2 months until you're fucking 18 anyway? So fucking relax. Just play some fucking video games. Chill in some streams. Whatever. Work on some projects. It will be fine. I promise you. I can't promise you the whole world's going to be fine, but I can promise you that you're misjudging you're misjudging how bad your situation is from your own personal perspective. And you should stop being so hard on yourself, because the best way to guarantee that you have a bad time is to tell yourself you're going to have a bad time, because then it happens, because you're not putting up that fight. You've resigned yourself. Yes, life is tough. Some things are really tough, but don't fucking give up and don't fucking be hard on yourself like that. Hey, Haley. Hi, Frosty Haley. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. At 18, dating shouldn't really be your focus. Plus, we tend to view ourselves in a much worse light than others will. Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, but I also understand. Like, I remember when I was fucking 18, like, as you want a girlfriend. You want a fucking girlfriend. I understand it. But you also got to remember to keep it in perspective. That you got a whole lot of years left in your life. And the world despite all of this bullshit, socially, the world is a better place than it used to be. The world is a way better place socially than it used to be. Autistic, queer, trans, doesn't matter. You can find other people thanks to the internet, and you can make connections, and you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. So don't fucking give up on yourself early. It's like I don't want to be mean, but it's so foolish. It's very foolish, a very foolish view. It's a naive view. Remember that. Remember, you have a lot left to see in this world, and you have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing. I was depressed as fuck when I was in high school. So depressed. I had no way of knowing that someday I would be living as myself with people that I love on my own terms. And is my life perfect? Fuck no. I've had medical issues. I have for some reason chronic pain now. It's like with my stomach and all the surgery and all that shit. It's like, wow, that shit sucks. But guess what? I'm living as myself with people that I love, and I don't have to live under the fucking oppressive rule of my parents that I used to live under when they were super fucking Christian. Totally different world than I ever could have imagined. Frosty Haley says, true, I'm 18 now, so I get the perspective. A lot of people want relationships. Of course you do. People want relationships around every age, but you got to remember that's not the only metric of life. A relationship is not the only metric of life. They're great. They're amazing. They're so fucking important. I know this, but they're not the only metric. And also, if you make them the only metric, then it makes life even worse because it isn't. There's shit to see. There's stuff to do. There's adventures to go on. I mean, not right now during the pandemic, unfortunately, but fucking play video games. Play some Sea of Thieves. Play some of these crazy, like, Dark Souls games that, like, get you excited and get your brain expanded and thinking about shit. Get out there and do that shit for now. I know it sucks right now, but I promise you, there's so much more than you can see right now. The world is way more complicated and interesting than you think it is. Oh, thank you so much, Dizzy. Thank you for the follow. Really, really appreciated. Fucking love it when I'm able to get follows. You guys, our numbers have been bumping in here. You know, my fucking view count is going up. My followers are going up. I think I've even unlocked a new tier of emotes, which means you subs are going to get new emotes soon. Under the Thunder, don't tell yourself it's not going to do anything. Obviously, don't go wild, you know? Just enjoy it. Just do these things. If you meet somebody, talk to them. See what happens. You never fucking know. This is silly, but I literally once had the craziest relationship with this girl who lived in fucking Australia. Like, same thing. You say Australia. I had a girlfriend from Australia, and I ended up getting to meet her and all kinds of crazy shit that I never would have. It ended up not going so great, but who cares? I never could have seen that coming. There were certain moments of that I will cherish for the rest of my life. So, realize, life is complicated. There are crazy things that happen. You can find all kinds of crazy shit out there. Don't give up. All right? Don't give up. Marinara says, Snowdrift wants, yeah, you know what, Snowdrift? Absolutely. I've never done this, so let's give this a try. You're on my server, so you should be able to join the general, and then I think I can drag you to stream call-ins. Hold on, maybe I can do this right now. Hold on, let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Let me see if we can work this out. Are you able to see that, Snowdrift? I don't know. Here, let me DM you. Actually, here, we can just do a one-on-one call. Hold on. I can call you directly, I think. All right, I'm calling you, Snowdrift. Can you hear me? I can't hear you right yet. Hey, there we go. Hey, how's it going?
Yo, it's going all right. How are you?
Good. As good as can be. This morning I was having, I had, like I said a little bit earlier, I had a rough ass morning. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I was like, nah, you know what? We got to do this shit. And I'm glad I did. So yeah. What do you got to say? Hit me with it.
Okay. So yeah, I was talking with someone about like the state of like, let's say like modern workers and, you know, middle, lower class workers and the general like complacency that people feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was kind of talking about the lack of like, let's say, pro-intellectualism in popular culture and media and stuff. And I kind of made the point that obviously media is a product of culture and society, but I think largely put, it's this phenomena that he was referring to is kind of something reflective of capitalism.
Yeah.
And he kind of took it as this, like, like lefty pejorative that a lot of people say. It's just like, oh, capitalism bad,
Yeah.
whatever. And the more I thought about it, the more I was kind of able to elaborate on it, is that I think some of the postmodernists touched on this, like in the Society of the Spectacle. um, but basically, obviously, when you're a person who has to work, several jobs, you're working 40 to 50, 60-hour work weeks, you come home, you're absolutely exhausted from the workday. You don't really have that same craving for engaging with things that are intellectually challenging. You don't really have the energy to read a book, or
Exactly. Yep.
to even
it
to even
drains
care
you.
about politics.
Fucking drains the
Exactly,
shit out
correct.
of you. Yep.
And it's a phenomena that, like, it doesn't get like touched on a whole lot anymore. And I think so. The reason for bringing this up and how it relates to now is that that is still prevalent. Obviously, like, people are still exhausted, people are still debilitated, people still don't necessarily want to face the reality of things.
Yeah.
But like when 2008 happened and we had the Occupy movement, that was unfortunately co-opted by, like,
Yeah.
mask
it
on
had some
right
issues.
wingers and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had some pretty
we're
big issues. Yeah.
yeah, we're faced with an even worse situation. Unfortunately, it's fucking awful, and that could have much worse effects for the long term. But what you've been getting at, and I hadn't really made light of this for myself, is that as awful as the situation is, this is the perfect time to do what you're doing, which is making a call to arms and saying, we need solidarity now.
Yeah.
Because this is the time where people are going to be like, oh, well, if ever there was a time to say we need to reformat, restructure this system, it is right now.
Yeah.
More people are going to be, what's the word? Not enticed by, but more interested in that because of their, what's the
precarity of the situation, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
go
I
ahead.
think you're right. No, I think that the pressure that the whole pandemic is bringing down, it has a two-front effect. One, people are literally trapped inside with nothing to do, so they're going to start branching out naturally. Of course, if you, by the time you've watched Paul Blart Mall Cop 100 times with with your kids or whatever, like, you're gonna want to seek something new. I mean, I think that perhaps the majority report is really important, and I'm really glad that they've been in that front is really important in that way, because they are on the radio. They're on radio stations where people can discover when they're just driving around town because they're bored. Like, I remember I used to go for, when I used to live in a rural area, I would go for a fucking drive. When I was off work, I couldn't sleep or whatever, go for a fucking drive, enjoy the view, maybe go park next to a mountain and just chill, listen to something on the radio. People discover it that way. But also, there's also the Twitch front. Stuff like what I'm doing and what other people like Vosh are doing are really good. There's great content that fills in huge hours of time, but with actual education and awareness happening. And I think that that's fucking really important. So I think you are touching on something there that is it's really the fucking camera again. God damn this shit. I fucking hate this camera so much. But the point is that, like, there's two fronts with this pandemic that are almost like, it's almost like they're the two silver linings that we can look at, as leftists looking and people who hope the world doesn't get fucking worse from this position. We can say, well, the fact that people are indoors and are looking for new forms of entertainment, but also the fact that people are coming into contact with unprecedented economic struggles, that's 2 points in our favor in this case. Those are the two silver linings that we can say, maybe this is our opportunity. And this is also an opportunity where, because people are, they need help, they're much more likely to actually act on stuff that they see. They're much more likely to act on a general strike or on a rent strike or even on a workplace strike, on a unionization movement, on mutual. I mean, the mutual aid network that I joined, like, just before this shit really took off, like, here is exploding. they're having so many more posts. I never saw a post from them. I saw a post from them maybe like once a month on some political thing. There are all kinds of people posting in these things now. Hey, I can help. Hey, I need help. Doesn't matter even if it's just people asking for help, because people asking for help, it opens the door for people to see that and then be able to provide the help. So
Yeah.
I think that is something that we need to like take seriously. And yeah, I guess that's why I have been going so ham on trying to like, or I guess I've been getting so irked by people saying like, oh, well, you know, Biden is the presumptive nominee. I'm like, no, guys, there is nothing presumptive that you can do anymore. There is no presuming in a pandemic of this scope. I mean, again, I always keep going back to this little graph I've been playing in the background, just showing, well, there, way back there is like the worst. You know, way down here on this little graph is 2008 or whatever, somewhere here is 2008, and here's us now. It's like, if you don't think that that's changed a genuine paradigm shift, at least on an economic level, whether it will be an ideological one is yet to be determined. But I don't think that I think anybody who's trying to like hawk solutions based on projections of polls or based on what was the assumption 10 years ago or what was the political strategy 10 years ago is being an honest actor. I think that's, you know, I think that's very, very naive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. It's like, for me personally, a lot of the discussions I've been seeing are just about the absolute like doomerism of the state that we're in. Of just like, well, you know, there's two, you know, I don't want to use words, but you know, sexual assaulters who were going to be president, and that's the discussion at hand constantly. And when I think about it, and I think about like a post-pandemic US, I think about just the complacency that generally will follow. Like, people are talking about how everything will change, or what could change, and I'm like, well, as long as we don't do anything in this moment, nothing is gonna fucking change. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah,
Corporations are going to continue to steamroll. Yeah, and so like with you reframing the conversation to say, okay, now is the time. Like, now is the only time possible we could experience.
This might be the last chance we get.
Yes.
Because keep in mind that right after this, we got to really, really, like, I mean, I think we should be doing this parallel to the best degree we can, but climate change is still not gone. That is the real Death Stranding, so to say. I always use Death Stranding metaphors because I think that game is so unbelievably perfect for this moment, but it's like
it's so poignant.
This is like the first part. This is like the fucking first void out. And then we have the like climate change, which is like the chiral storms that are going to take over the planet and like make many areas unlivable. So it's just like, oh yeah, we got to be ready for that. And the way that like I just think I don't think we have time to like lay on old polls and shit like that. Even though we can't go out and like nobody can go out right now and safely protest or organize in physical space, but we can lay the groundwork for that. As we know, digital spaces can be incredible in setting up movements. I mean, how many viral movements, everything from the memes, from like shit like the super memes of like Chanology back in the day, you know what I mean? But still put people out. Yeah. People still went to those things, as cringy as they were, to then occupy. And to now, people are fucking internet savvy. People know how to actually put events together and meet up and coordinate things. And we saw this even with the Wet'suwet'en pipeline protests, where they were able to completely decentralized, organize like blockades of the trains. So I think these things are very, very possible. We just might not know exactly how they need to come together yet. But why I'm urging people so much on my channel to think outside of the political box is precisely for this, you know, precisely for what you're pointing at, which is that this moment is unique, and laying the groundwork now means that when things do start clearing up, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later, but let's be real, it's probably going to be a while. But once they do, we will have ideas, plans in place that people can just jump onto and do, and people are going to be fucking restless. Let's be real. But I wanted to address one of the things I just saw in chat. I think you might find some of these comments interesting. First of all, Marinara said Occupy was a good case study for pitfalls to avoid in a future movement. I agree. I actually agree very much. Occupy was extremely decentralized, which in and of itself isn't bad, but it was also ideologically, there was no ideological grounding to the movement. It was completely and utterly decentralized. And that can lead to a lot of chaos if there's no ideological shared ground, in my opinion. And then we had here, which is Mightiest Wood says, don't strikes require reserves to outlast the opposition with? How would a general strike work at a time when people don't have money because they're not working? Well, unfortunately, because there may be no other choice. To a certain degree, workers might be looking at no strike and no food, or strike and no food, with the small chance of actually breaking through that. There's two parts of it. Like on Chapo, actually recently they were discussing, I think it was Amber who was discussing that, like, a passive, like an unorganized strike, like basically just people running out of money and not being able to pay their rent, or being fired from their job, or the job being shut down by the government or whatever. Those are unorganized, but you can easily turn that into an organized one just by talking to the people who have lost their jobs, just by talking to the people who no longer have rent and saying, you're not alone in this. Let's work together, instead of you just, not having the rent, because none of us have the rent. So you can go from people just sitting there and just basically sitting on their hands and waiting to be evicted to saying, no, wait a minute. None of us have rent, but none of us have rent together, and we can actually make a move. We can start making claims if we act together. So that was what I was going to address from that comment. Mightiest Wood also says, industries are in a decent position to bargain. They're offering jobs and people are out of work. Yeah, for now, though. Look at this line. Do you think that this acceleration is going to stop anytime soon? And even if it does stop, where do you think it's going to stop? The amount of, we've never dealt with this. Industries are not going to be able to keep functioning when all of this catches up. Because keep in mind, people are spending their reserves right now. Some of the people who've lost this work are spending all of their reserves. When they're out, then what? Then what?
Yep.
Are we going to be looking at migrations? What happens once these people are out of money? If the government doesn't come through, people will have no money and no food. That is going to motivate a lot of people instantly to do something. I think people are underestimating. I mean, we've already seen it in India. India's way, way, way worse condition than we are right now, as far as just the average person in India. There is a mass migration happening in India to the degree that hasn't happened since the fucking Bengal famine. And that's absurd to think about. So we haven't seen that portion here. We might never see that same degree here in the United States. But the fact that it's happening in the world at all currently is kind of shocking. The sheer degree of what can happen when people start migrating because they can't get food where they're at, or they can't get work where they're at. I think that this is what I was talking about to that person earlier, is just that our projections they're not adjusted for this. They're not fucking adjusted for this. So the industries might seem like they're in a decent position to bargain right now, but that might not be true in a couple of days. That might not be true in a couple of weeks. There was so I wanted to address that one.
Two quick points if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
And like, what's most outrageous about all of this is we're just in the beginnings of this. Like, this has been present in America for maybe about a month, I want to say. Like, it started over Washington, California area, and is slowly
I think the
grown.
first case in the U.S. was late January.
Okay.
But that was like the first confirmed case, and there was like no real response to it. Like it was like the University of Washington, because it was here in Seattle. That was the first case was here in Seattle, and then the University of Washington started looking into it, and then Governor Jay Inslee was the first person to declare like a state of emergency. That was the one that when we went over the Steven Crowder video, he wrongfully reported Washington State calling a state of emergency for Donald Trump calling a state of emergency. Donald Trump didn't call a state of emergency for almost another month and a half. But yeah. Anyway,
okay. Thank you for that clarification. Yeah. So we're just within the first few weeks of it being taken seriously on a national level, and we're just seeing the beginnings of corporations and small businesses, etc., having to respond to this. And we're already seeing the absolute failures of capitalism just happening constantly. So like,
Oh, and
not
blatantly
even
too.
yes, and even if all of this ended now, like if I'm sure many of us remember the echoes, the continued effects of 2008, which was again like I don't want to over dramatize, but probably not as horrible as what will be the experience we're having now.
Oh no,
Like,
no. I don't think
yeah,
you're over dramatizing at all. I think that that this makes 2008 look like child's play.
yeah,
We are 2 weeks. Well, okay. What's today? Today is the 3rd, right?
yes,
Yeah, the
Mhm.
3rd. So we are about. I mean, maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe away from the first like projected peaks that if I'm remembering correctly. It's really hard to keep track of what the projections
Yeah.
are anymore because there's so many conflicting narratives and there's so
Mhm.
many groups that are having different considerations. This is exactly why I was getting mad at that person earlier, was because it's just like you think that there's 100 different data scientists all having their own projections on this. So but
Yeah.
by all projections, it is the end of this month that's going to be the first real peak we're going to see in deaths. Until then, it's going to continue to accelerate. And I have no idea what Florida and New York are going to end up looking like. Florida,
Yeah.
they just put stay-at-home orders in place, and they're still ironing
Wow.
it out. And the thing is that's crazy. Here's something that a lot of people don't talk about, which is here, even in Seattle, where we had stay-at-home orders go out comparatively early to the rest of the country, but still not early enough. But we had them go out comparatively early. There's like a week or a week and a half afterwards, in the best case, of having to iron out like which businesses are like actually not essential, like who's breaking the rules, like where are the problems in these policies that we're putting through. So Florida is going to be doing that just as
Yep.
they're going to get hit by the first major wave. And I can't even
Mhm.
imagine, with an elderly population like Florida has, what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's very,
Absolutely.
very, very spooky. And that is the thing that like I always try to say, like I've been making a very deliberate effort on all my streams to make sure that we don't just focus on how bad it is, because
Yeah.
it is going to be. I will not lie. Like I genuinely deeply believe that this is going to be an unprecedented event in the history of humanity. Like in scope. We're already seeing that it's just ravaging places like India, places that have less infrastructure even than us. And if we're struggling to this degree, I can't even imagine what stories are going to come up once all of this is sort of starting to calm down and people can start making sense of it again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Like, again, I don't want to like doomerism or whatever, but it was like I'll listen to NPR sometimes while
Yeah.
I'm like driving for work and stuff,
Oh hell yeah,
and
I
they're
used to
just
do that
like,
too.
yeah, and they're just like, hey, listen, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. And look, I understand that's really good for people. Like, it's really tough mentally right now. Like, sometimes you need that comfort, but part of it also felt like very like condescending, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Like kind of being dishonest. Like, I don't want people to be having a constant panic attack, of course.
yeah,
But the emphasis on the moment that we're in leads into, again, your reframing of the situation, where it's like, okay, like, this is pertinent, this is extremely urgent, that we need to pull in people who are disillusioned with the system, that we need to get engaged on some level locally,
yep,
and call, your state representatives, your governor, everyone you can, and say, whatever it is, like call for rent strike, or ask them, call for freezing rent, all of these things, and even to consider like really getting engaged on our own terms, instead of just kind of sitting on our hands, because like that's what I've been doing a lot of the time, and I don't
yeah.
blame people for that, right? Like, I'm
Well, I
not
think
trying
to
to
a
sound
certain degree,
elitist,
that's
but
going to be a reality of it. Is like there's going to be. I don't think that during the pandemic that anything's going to feel particularly exciting or intense. I just think that we have to realize that like certain efforts that we're taking, like what Spectral Melodies had said earlier, of handing out flyers or disseminating information. These things might not seem important, but I think they're going to become very important. And
yeah,
dominant narratives are cracking. Like, we're seeing that. That's the thing. Like, NPR is one of the is probably one of the more realistic as far as you know mainstream media goes. They're probably one of the ones that are closer to the truth. And if their narrative is going to break, and their narrative is already breaking, we can only imagine what mainstream narratives are going to completely crack and what we're going to see when that happens. So I think that having ground game, like having other ideas there, and I think in this case, the fact that Bernie's staying in the race is like a godsend, because he does have an organization. He has an organization that has already been disseminating certain information, that's already popularizing certain slogans, that's already made certain concepts very popular, like Medicaid for all. These things are only going to become more attractive as shit gets more desperate. And again, because we're still in this lull period where it's like things are getting worse, but a lot of people are still not like quite in that area where they've grasped it yet. There's still this thing where it feels like, oh, well, what's happening? What's going to happen? It could be that fucking next month, by this time next month, that we have like a giant fucking labor movement in this country. Who knows? It's so hard to predict. I think that what it will come down to is whether we're ready to jump on that, whether we have the sort of strategy in place. And I guess that's why I'm starting to turn my mind towards thinking about those sort of things. I put out a whole bunch of feelers this morning for like, hey, I need as much like literature, guides, videos on building, on like organizing, on disseminating information, on, building good communication networks and stuff as I can possibly get. Because I think that is what it's going to come down to. People are going to need assistance, and they're going to look around them to the people that are near them. And if it's leftists who are there to build systems that will help them, if it's leftists that are in place to establish equitable systems, that will be a million times better than if we just leave it to venture capital to scoop everything up and then give people a pittance in exchange for slave labor. I think that lefties being able to even just spread ideas and start putting out feelers and start connecting with people so that those people will come to you or ask you for help, and you can give them, hey, maybe consider unionizing. Some people might not know what to do, and if they get told, hey, maybe you can unionize, they'll go talk to their coworkers and then unionize, and that could make the difference in an entire industry. So I don't know. Again, a lot of this is just like sort of mental games where we're just trying to figure out what the right move is. But I think I don't know. I think we're kind of onto something, at least in the terms of this conversation. I think that we're both kind of like feeling and sensing that sort of change and that opportunity for laying groundwork, laying a foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'll let you go after this. My internet's being a little funky.
Well, hey, thank you for coming on. I would really fucking love to hear your input on this. It was super, super, super productive. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, the last thing I was just gonna throw out there is that I do think, regardless of which way the election goes, like we've already seen Bernie just completely shift his priorities in a way that's obviously tremendously impressive.
Yeah.
You barely hear him talking about the election. He's been doing his live streams and panels like nearly every day. And it's who we have to thank for the adjustments for unemployment and the most recent stimulus package, and is now doing you know all this obviously. So but that's the groundwork that hopefully that structure, if worst case scenario Bernie doesn't get it, whatever, we still have that to rely on and pull from, because I don't think Bernie or his team or his structure or whatever you want to call it would necessarily be going anywhere, even if he doesn't pull things through.
I mean, I think that Bernie's campaign, they've already talked about the fact that, I mean, he made it a part of his platform that he was going to be the organizer in chief. So I think they've probably designed that organization to be agile enough to move in case to keep going on and putting forward the ideological and political goals, even if he doesn't win the election. And I think they would be able to. I think they can find another Bernie Sanders if Bernie Sanders isn't the one. I think they'll be ready. And the other thing too is that this is another one where I kind of have to just kind of like, I have to like shoo off the data scientist people, because I go like, we don't have any data right now. We don't know what people who since this whole thing started, we don't know what people's opinions are. We don't know how many people have already said, wow, actually, you know what? Universal healthcare would be good. We don't know how many
Mhm.
people have already changed their minds. We don't know how many people's minds will be changed going forward. We don't know how many people were pissed off by the fact that the DNC pushed forward with certain votes, certain primary votes in states that now have
Yep.
confirmed cases from people who were working the voting booths those days. People know this.
Insane.
This information has been, people are clued in on this information. I don't know to what degree, but some people are. And I think that the pundit types who are obsessed with the polls and whatnot, miss that. They miss the fact that we have now like weeks of data that isn't being collected, weeks of things we don't know about that might come in fucking crazy hot as the election gets closer and as things get worse. Those people who have already changed their minds might become activated. Like, I mean, we already know how active Bernie's base was. I mean, we're talking about, this is something that gets overlooked in all of the panic talk, which is that Bernie's ground game in every single state was unprecedented. The sheer passion of his base is incredible, and that's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Barring like the horrible thing of people dying, like that could cause it to go somewhere. But let's hope not. But yeah, well, thank you for coming on. And if you ever have anything else, just always, if you want to say something, ping me. I'll try and get you on. You always have good shit to say. So
thank you. Yeah, I figure usually I can type things out, but just wanted to kind of get a little more in depth about it. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, see you.
Bye. Damn, that was great. Oh, Snowdrift. Let me just, can you plug yourself in chat so that everybody in chat can give you a follow and stuff, and go check out your music and everything? That'd be fucking awesome if you could do that. That'd be fucking amazing. If not, I will do it. I'll plug you again. But yeah, you guys should all follow Snowdrift. Snowdrift is fucking cool as shit. Let me just address some of the things I missed in chat. Let's see. The idea that workers can live safely is something that can actually help the profit margin, quote unquote, overall. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the short-sightedness, right? Is that in the long term, it would be better to build a sustainable system. It would be more profitable in the long term. But right now, there's no such thing. Corporations don't think about long-term profit. Excuse me. They think about short-term profit. That's just how they're structured. They don't think about long-term profit. No corporations build for sustainability, or very, very few do. The ones that do are usually doing so as a privilege because they are already a massive corporation. Like Apple. Apple can build for sustainability because they have trillions of dollars, or they're like $1 trillion company. Like, of course. But small businesses can't do that because they'll be choked out by an Amazon if they don't think about the short term. It's a really fucked crossroads of things, and crossroads of factors. Spectral Melody says, this is our moment. We've been preparing for this. This is our moment, and we have been preparing for this, and we need to be preparing more, and we need to be acting more. And I'm telling you, you're not alone in that. Don't be afraid. We're going to do this. I'm a bit scared myself. I don't know what I'm looking at here in my neighborhood. I don't know. Like, I'm fucking today, I'm going to be going to go buy a fucking laser printer in case I need to print out shit. Paperwork, whatever. I don't know what's going to happen. So we'll have to see. Pooping Out Loud says, I think Florida might be monetarily okay because of Social Security, assuming they don't all croak. Pooping Out Loud, I don't think Florida is going to be okay in any way. I don't think Florida is okay. I don't think they are going to be okay. Everything, their social distancing they haven't had in place. They've had so many confirmed cases. Their death rate is already skyrocketing, and they're not even close to where their projected peak was supposed to be. Florida is fucked. I don't even know what I think I'm going to leave talking about Florida to Bo of the Fifth Column because he knows the situation way better, but I think it's going to be way worse than I think they're going to get hit one of the worst in the nation. That would be my prediction. I don't think that's an irrational prediction. Pooping Out Loud says, capitalism wants the individual. The problem is that as long as some people are acting as individuals, the system will be propped up. How do we win over lower class capitalists? Well, I think that there's a two-front thing. First of all, winning over lower class capitalists, well, those lower class capitalists are going to realize that they aren't actually capitalists very soon. See, because the thing is like people like landlords, what people traditionally imagine when they think of a landlord is they think of a person that's sitting in their office, right? It's the person you give the check to. Those are employees. Those people they're probably made to feel like they're a capitalist because they're sitting in a nice office and maybe they get a nice benefits package or whatever, but they're still laborers and they will be dropped. And that's the thing. This is just a fact. This line right here, this is going to hit everybody. You want to talk about, forget about trickle down. This is surge up economics. Every single person is going to be affected by this right here. Every single person in the nation is going to be affected by unemployment numbers this high. Yes, empowered collective. I don't know what that's in reference to. How are you going to organize 160 million-ish workers? What are the limits on how big a group you can organize before individual interests within that group cause division? Oh, there's going to be division, but it's not about organizing as one central organization. That's very silly. You don't need to organize 160 million people to the exact same cause. You just need to get a bunch of different organizations of tons of workers or small or even tons and tons and tons of tiny collectives of workers to work together and realize that they have shared interests so that they work together. That's it. You just need to build a coalition. It doesn't have to have perfect overlap or it doesn't have to be one central thing. I'm not talking about like a single party or anything like that. I don't think that that's feasible or capable at the moment. Instinct is great, but you should look very hard at those numbers before you recommend people stop working to hold out for raises that may or may not materialize or be worth the time not being paid. Mightiest Wood, nobody's getting fucking raises. Nobody's been getting raises objectively. The data, nobody has been getting raises for decades. Yes, some rare individuals might get a promotion or raise, but Americans' incomes have just been steadily sitting still while cost of living goes way up, while cost of fucking commodities goes way up, cost of housing way up. This is objective. I can't like you can go watch Richard Wolff's lectures where he goes over this data in depth. That's his wheelhouse. That's out of my wheelhouse. Oh, wow. I got to catch up. Snowdrift says, thanks for having me on. Oh, yeah, of course. Take your time, Snowdrift. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, look at this shit. Yes, Snowdrift posted their song. It's so good. It's so fucking good. You guys got to listen to it. If you can afford it, buy Snowdrift's music. Seriously. Not only are you helping an awesome leftist artist, but the music is fucking golden. New Mosaic, you took a nap. That's okay. Gamer guy, that's not very nice. But yes, use the pronouns command if you want to see the pronouns. Yeah. Oh, okay. Gamer guy also said some pretty shit things. Okay. Well, we might have to ban that person, but we'll see. Don't be stupid, gamer guy. Don't be lame. Mightiest Wood, people haven't been getting raises in terms of wages and salaries in general, but their overall income has increased with the addition of benefits. That's objective too. Yes, but the benefits give less and less, and everything costs more and more. We're talking housing has gone up by almost 300%. Like it's like 253% is cost of housing gone up. No amount of bonus benefits, no amount of actual pay will make a difference when your housing costs go up 300%. I'm sorry. You're just... The margins, just the math doesn't work in your favor there. Sorry. If employers can't provide a living wage, they shouldn't be a company, says Marinara. If they reduce the labor they purchase in order to maintain their profit margin where they can afford it, that's on them, but it's a failing. Mightiest Wood, how many people are on a minimum wage right now? The percentage of the population? I don't know. You can go out. I don't know that data. I can't summon up that data off the top of my head. Sauron the Deceiver says, happy Friday, everybody. Don't forget to strap a piece of fabric on your face. Ain't this fun? Thank you for coming, Sauron the Deceiver. I appreciate you coming by. Under the Thunder says, my ideology is whatever newsman on CNN says, Kappa. Yeah, I mean, some people really do run that way, I guess. Some people really fucking do. That's their worldview, I guess. Not me, though. Not me. Marinara says, benefits also tend to create a reliance on the company for all aspects of life in favor. Yes, it's like the company town problem. It's not sustainable. It requires you to live in it requires you to be increasingly unhappy and dependent on the company. Mightiest Wood, nobody's talking about just eliminating companies. Companies are going out of business all over the place. There is, like, our government is not responding at the moment. They're not responding in any meaningful way. They're bailing out financial institutions, which financial institutions gamble on smaller businesses and invest in larger businesses. So it doesn't, what you're saying is a moot point. You're not just eliminating those companies. They're passing. Like Xander Hall's parents. I haven't watched a whole lot of Xander Hall's content recently. I like Xander Hall. I actually think Xander Hall's a really good debater. I was actually blown away. Xander Hall was really good in debate. But I don't know. I don't know about Xander Hall's parents, actually. Are they like super CNN man? Like listen to Newsman on CNN? Yeah, coercive practices do exist. They're very, I mean, right now, literally, Amazon is putting out propaganda to its workers that's like, you are the lifeblood of the nation. Can you imagine? Like this goes back to the fucking, would you die for a Whopper? Would you maggots die for a Whopper? And it's like, would you die for Captain Crunch? And it's like, people don't want to die for fucking Amazon. Nobody wants to die so you can get a Funko Pop. You know, that's the problem. First of all, they shouldn't. But second of all, they don't want to. People don't want to fucking go to work and die for a fucking Funko Pop. Marinara says, being forced to take a job doesn't imply that it's a free decision. Yes, it's an objectively coercive decision, especially during a pandemic. You should be able. Why is our society so incapable of dealing with something that periodically happens? Plagues have periodically happened through the history of the world. They don't need to be like this. You know, like plagues are gonna happen. We can make them less impactful by being prepared and by having social safety nets that make it possible for us to resist the plague. Capitalism has made it impossible for us to resist any sort of disaster. We see this not just in the plague, not just in the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. We see this also in places like in Puerto Rico, where in Puerto Rico, there was like an incredible amount of shortages of needed supplies. These were held up because of Donald Trump and his insistence on going through private corporations in order to supply emergency supplies. This shit is all over the place. Capitalism has not been prepared to deal with any human emergencies because they don't believe in human emergencies. When things get bad for capitalists, they let the lower classes die. They want you to fucking die. You are their sandbags. It's a very lazy approach to a society, but it's the approach they do. That's what they do. That's why we fight against it. You don't have to be a capitalist. You don't have to be an apologist for a capitalist. You can just stop saying that poor people should die. To straw man a bit, says Marinara, people are consenting to be exploited, actually. Yes, that's kind of true. Are there other economics that are weathering this pandemic in a way that you like? I mean, I think that Vietnam is doing pretty goddamn good. They're doing pretty fucking good, all things considered. South Korea is even doing pretty good. And they're pretty capitalist. They're pretty capitalist, but they're less capitalist. They're less individualistically, obsessively capitalist than we are. They at least believe in some form of collective approach to collective problems. That's the thing. Pooping out loud, not just capitalism, any system that encourages supply-side economics. Producing excesses costs money in storage, so having a safety net is actually discouraged. Yes, our society fucking hates safety nets. Our socioeconomic system is so against safety nets because they are cost. They are a cost that you can eliminate when things are bad. But the whole point of a safety net is to cut into your profits a tiny bit so that you can weather bad times. But they don't, like, corporations don't need to weather bad times because they can just pull a fucking golden parachute and get the fuck out like they all are. Have you heard from fucking Jeff Bezos recently? Or do you think he's probably hiding in his fucking nuclear silo survival bunker with his personal doctor? How much you want to bet that he's got a personal bunker with a personal doctor with a whole bunch of fucking entertainment? He's probably got a fucking bunker with a goddamn... There's I don't even remember the rich guy. There was a rich dude who had a fucking bunker with a water park in it for his family. Just him and his like 2 kids. They have a fucking bunker with a water park in it. This is the thing. When you have a system that just lets you golden parachute out at any time and leave everybody else for dead, it's fucking busted. Under the Thunder says, Xander Hall's parents are both MSNBC shills who backed Buttigieg, then Warren, and then Biden. His mom was also emotionally abusive and used her incredibly shallow definition of feminism as a weapon against him whenever he tried to resist her. That's really unfortunate. I have heard that Xander Hall had a rough time with his parents. That's really super unfortunate. Yeah, guys, don't just mindlessly accept news from any source, anybody. Oh yeah. Sorry. Here. Sorry, Deli. I'll change it to something else. We'll go to my profile for now. Actually, you know what? I'll do something cool. Watch this. I'm gonna do what Chud does. This is a good idea. Chud taught me this one. I'm gonna borrow from him. Here we go. Look at this. Yeah. Look at that. We got a little fireplace. I'm gonna turn off the sounds though. We'll do this. Look at this. How's that? Is that good? Is that better? Is that more relaxing? We can have a fireside chat here together. Cozy. Yeah, this was Chud's idea. I give credit to Chud Logic. It's good as shit. Sorry about that, Deli. I didn't mean to hurt your eyes. I just wanted to have that as a backdrop because I think it's a very helpful visual aid to remember what we're talking about, the scope, the magnitude of the topics that we're discussing at the moment. The top 1% of Americans have more capital than some. This Pooping Out Loud says the top 1% of Americans have more capital than some entire nations have. Why would they need to prepare for hardship when it literally can't happen? And the parentheses I would add on that is to them. It can happen to everybody else, but it doesn't have to happen to them because they don't fucking give a shit. Let's see. Mightiest Wood, all of these arguments you're making perfectly slot into the economic situation during the Gilded Age of the 1890s. Yeah, we've been here before. We've been here before with these problems with capitalism. We've seen this before multiple times. It's just this one is so severe that we don't even know what the fuck we're gonna do. The market is crashing so hard, it's unbelievable. Like we can't even fathom the degree to which the market has crashed, to which everything is coming crashing down. Excuse me. Mightiest Wood says, I don't know a ton about the period, but I do know that it fits perfectly with the way most people sign labor contracts, myself included, by the way. What I'm describing is what I did. Your labor contract, labor contracts, yes. I agree with Mariner. There's a very weird legalistic way of hand-waving exploitation. To say, oh, you signed a contract. Well, when you're dying, when your family is going to die or you're going to live live a homeless life, you're going to be out on the street or you're going to be denied even the most basic modern conveniences. That's not really much of a decision, is it? That's not really much of a decision. It is exploitation. It's exploitation when you, because of circumstance, you have to sell your labor at less than it's worth. Then when people are allowed to continue to make profit off of your supposedly essential labor, and they're going to make a huge profit off of you and pay you a pittance. Do you think that Amazon is like losing money? Do you know that companies are making money right now? We read an article the other day called The Real Estate Bonanza, because they're talking about how much money real estate corporations are making right now. They are taking money, extracting it to the top, and just fucking jetting with it. I am paid more than I was willing to work for. The company pays less than they were willing to pay. We're exploiting each other. Wow, man, you've drank the Kool-Aid really deep. You do realize that you have everything to lose and they have nothing to lose. You are a replaceable cog to them. It's very, very, very rare that in any company you are truly irreplaceable. You might be, but not to them. As far as they're concerned, you are replaceable. Now, there are many workers who are not actually genuinely replaceable. We can see this in cases like, video games. In video games, we can see artists who get shit canned or laid off who made products successful, and then those products go on to tank because they no longer have the talent there. But that doesn't matter to the capitalist. The capitalist is making more money than ever. They're making more money off of your labor than ever before. And if you're willing to work for less, that's not necessarily a you problem, but that's a problem of the marketplace because you don't actually get to determine what you get to work for. You say that you're working for more than what you were willing to work for. You don't know what you were actually like. You are in a position where you've been told, oh well, I can bargain slightly higher. Well, wait until it's your job that's on the line. When it comes to the time for you to be taking the cuts, that equation will stop working because your boss, your employer, still owns the means of production. They still own the code that you generated or whatever it is that you do. They still own the product of your labor, and you do not. There are very few industries right now in the United States that are not exploitative. Yeah, Marinara says, your job mobility is not descriptive of the majority of people. Most people have zero job mobility. Most people, the vast majority of Americans work jobs in which they have basically no mobility. Yes, zero, really. Most people have zero. Do you know how many people are working gig economy jobs where the only other option is for them to go work for an identical other gig economy job? That is their option. And the other option is to say, if I don't do this gig work, I have been in that position personally, where I had to take exploitative shit pay work for my good quality work, that I do good work, and I got paid shit for it because there were no other options. So, oh wow, look at this. I mean, look at that. Look at this right here. Mightiest Wood. What kind of people do those jobs? Fucking working class people. Wake up, dude. What are you like a programmer or something? Are you like a programmer for like Google or something, like a senior software person? You've never ever seen somebody work a job that isn't like a tech job? What kind of people? Low skill. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, you're one of these people. You know what you probably are? You're probably a fucking pencil pusher, aren't you? You probably file paperwork. Your job is probably completely non-essential. And guess what? It's going to come for you too soon, dude. Not to be a scaremonger, but it's coming for you soon. So you better start realizing that you are not the capitalist you think you are. That you're a worker and you are vulnerable. Your job could disappear overnight, and then what the fuck are you going to do for your family? Just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. Mightiest Wood. My dad has a law degree and has been forced to work temp jobs. Yeah, you guys. I know a lot of people who have fucking crazy credentials. I know people who have worked in industries for years, who are genuinely skilled, who've been shit canned. Mightiest Wood, you live in a fantasy land? This is literally the definition of privilege. And I know you're not going to like to hear that. I know it's going to sting a little bit to think that you're privileged, but that is literally the textbook definition of privilege. When you go, huh, who the fuck would work in that? Most of the fucking world. Most of the world has to just deal with whatever's given to them because the system has been constructed in such a way that they have to take this shit or else they become homeless. And it's your choice to live in a house, I guess, despite the fact that shelter is a fucking human need. Being fired is not the same thing as not having options. Yes, it is. If there's no other jobs available, if you're getting laid off in the middle of a pandemic and there's no other businesses that are open or taking on new employees, being fired, being laid off, your company closing is the same thing as not having options. You are so ridiculously insulated and in your bubble. It's unbelievable. What? You just said you could. No, I said in the case of a gig worker, in the best circumstances, they can choose between two identical gig economy places. That's gig economy workers. Keep it straight. I know it's hard. I know it's really hard. And you're trying real hard to bend over backwards. Should I call in? Should I do it? I mean, that's the thing. Maybe we should have this person come in and I should just debate with them. I don't know how, I'm struggling with my server here because I know I'm supposed to have, let's see here. I think I can set this up. Let's see. Give me just 1 second. We'll see. I'm open to having somebody come on and argue with me. Okay. So let me make a new channel. Here we go. No. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. We can view the channel. They can connect. They can speak. There we go. All right. Let me get a link. 1 second. Here. There you go. All right. Who wants to come on? Anybody wants to come on, you can use that link, and I'll pick one of you and bring you in. If Mightiest Wood, if you want to come on here and talk to me about this, this is your opportunity. Go ahead and follow that link. It should bring you in, and I should be able to move you over to the live channel. Oh, they said no? Okay. No interest. Read into that whatever you like, but thanks for the perspective. As an aside, Slayer are fantastic. Fuck yeah, I love this shirt, by the way. This is from OmoCat. It's really good. Mightiest Wood, this is, I'm just telling you, that is the literal textbook definition of privilege. When you think that your circumstance is exactly what everybody else has, when in truth, you actually have it way better than everybody else, in that your industry apparently has lots of options for you. I'm telling you right now, that is not the experience of most Americans by a long shot, especially Americans who live in any of the places affected by this pandemic. For some reason, the fireplace makes me think of bacon. Well, yeah, I can see that. It does kind of look like it does, you know, we've got this part right over here. I'll use my mouse. You got this looks like a big old, this kind of looks like a big slab of bacon. I can imagine that. I fucking love that. At one point, sometime I'll be able to do actual proper viewer call-ins, and we'll figure that out. But, by the way, oh yeah, Marinara says, by the way, Mightiest Wood, you're being exploited too, because the company has had more power to set the terms of what's considered fair. Yes, that's not even assuming like semi-monopolistic industries where a group of companies set what they believe is fair, and then you just have to choose between that, and you don't really have any negotiating power. The negotiating power that an individual employee has, even in the best of times, is super, super limited. Like, you can negotiate your salary up a couple thousand or whatever like that, and that's about it. Other than that, they're not gonna companies aren't going to bend over backwards for you. You're never going to be paid fucking CEO pay, no matter how valuable your labor is. It's just true. Debate me mode active. Wait, is somebody in there? Is somebody in there? No, nobody's in the waiting room. Okay. Yeah. Let's take a look. Oh, we have a content recommendation. Okay. Oh, sick. So yeah. Wait, dang to what? Dang to the hot chocolate? Yeah, hot chocolate and s'mores sounds fucking good. I'm actually getting super hungry. I'm actually thinking I'm probably gonna wrap up stream here relatively soon and go get some lunch and then take care of some Wait, you've never had s'mores? S'mores are great. They're also super, super easy to make. You can make s'mores at home. You just take a graham cracker, a little bit of chocolate, and a marshmallow. You squish it, and then you put it in the microwave for like a couple seconds, and you watch, and it'll go, and it'll melt, and then you can eat it. They're not as good as fireplace s'mores because you don't get that like smoky flavor from like properly toasting the marshmallow. But it is a good like simulacrum of a s'more that you can make anywhere. Oh, you know how to make. They're really sweet. They're really, really good. Also, there is a guys, seriously, Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen makes a blizzard, a s'mores blizzard that actually tastes like s'mores. I was pretty blown away when I had it, and I was really skeptical, but I have had a fluffernutter under the thunder. We used to eat those all the time. My little siblings, when I was younger, loved fluff, so occasionally my mom would buy fluff, and we could make fluffernutters. S'more Simulacrum is my new band name. Hey, you can take it. That one's on me. You can have S'more Simulacrum. Pooping Out Loud says, this is especially egregious in stuff like call centers. You want better pay? Make more sales. Literally so exploitative that we require you to exploit some people to maybe make a few bucks. Oh yeah, totally. When I used to work in sales, I would make a ton of money. I made a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, I made a above minimum wage income. I've never made a lot of money. Truly, I've made more money than the average when I was in sales because I was very good at sales. But all of that came out of you making them more money. I was able to look and find out that I made hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a single year for my company in sales, and you get a couple thousand at most. It's fucking stupid. These systems are so exploitative, and people who don't realize that are marks. You're a mark. You've been fooled, but you don't have to. It's okay. We've all been fooled at one point or another. It's when you realize it and you just keep denying it once you've been given the information and you stay in denial that you become a true mark. You become a fool who's being duped actively. You can get a simulation of the fireplace more by skewering a marshmallow on a fork and roasting it over your stove. Just don't let it drip onto the stovetop. Yeah, be real careful about that. You want to set off your apartment fire alarms. That's fucking cringe. You thought I was talking about marks for one sec? Oh, you're a mark. Oh, yeah. No. I was talking about marks, like somebody who's a dupe, somebody who's very easy to rip off, somebody who's easy to con. It's like She-Ra growing up in the Evil Brotherhood. Yeah, fair enough. True. Yeah. All right, you guys. All right. This has been a hell of a stream. We've had a fucking good time. Have we all had a good time? Has everyone had an all right time? Yes, some of the topics are stressful, but I hope we've all had a good time. This is the time. I always do this before the end of the stream. If you guys have random fucking questions, random throwouts you want to do, you guys have been here this whole time. Super amazing. Tell me what you want. You got 5 minutes. Shoot me your questions. Throw me your jokes. Whatever you want me to do. It's the free 5 minutes before I go, or whatever. However, it usually ends up being more like 10. But hit me with your stuff. Pooping out loud. But if labor is being a mark, what is the answer? Not do labor? That doesn't sound correct. No. No, pooping out loud. Labor isn't being a mark. It's when you realize that you're being ripped off and you don't change your actions at all. You don't change your considerations at all, that you become a mark. It's when you start making apologia for your industry and for the capitalists to exploit you. That is what is the that's what makes you a mark. It's not doing your labor. Everybody has to do labor. We don't want to starve. Like, we're coerced into this shit. That's the point of it. But it's once you realize that you're being coerced, once you realize that your labor is being taken advantage of, then you have to go, okay, so what do I do with this information? Do I become apologia and just say, oh, I'm going to contribute to the system, or am I going to find a way to resist that? I've suggested it before, labor as an act of sedition. Give your labor away for free to the needy. That old lady down the street, file her taxes for free. Yeah, that's something that, but we do that all the time, don't we? We do that all the time, more or less. Tons of people, like, how much free art is there on the internet? Do you know how many people give away their art for fucking free all over the internet? So much labor in our society goes unrewarded. So maybe not completely unrewarded, but it goes unrewarded from the capitalist structure. There's so much good work that people do that doesn't get money, even if it should. I did way more work, and of course, back at this time, I had no class consciousness. I had no left politics whatsoever when I was working in sales, I went way above and beyond because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Spectral Melodies says, if I cannot dictate the terms of my labor, I will henceforth cease to work. Ham and Hennessy, hobo, dissident, anarchist during the Great Depression. Yeah, there's a song. This is silly, but you mentioned a hobo. But there was a song that came out of the Great Depression called Hallelujah, I'm a Bum. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that song, but the lyrics go, Hallelujah, I'm a bum. Hallelujah, a bum again. Hallelujah, give me a handout, so I'll rally again. And then it goes, that's the chorus, and then it goes back in to talking about how when he's in prison, it's like, I got myself arrested so I could get 3 square meals a day. People who were in the Great Depression would commit crimes to be arrested, so they would go in jail and get free sandwiches because you would get fucking food when you're in jail. They got to feed you while you're incarcerated. Those things were so bad on the street that people would get arrested intentionally just to ensure they got 3 square meals a day. I think we do it, but we don't do it enough. Well, I think that's true to a degree. I think what's going to happen now is that people are going to have to start analyzing mutual structures for labor, because a lot of us are going to be out of work. A lot of us are not going to be able to work for a corporation or find traditional employment. A lot of us have already been in that situation. I've been in that situation myself, of not being able to find work for multiple reasons, usually a multitude of reasons that you can't find work. What we need to do now is figure out how we can do work that's mutually beneficial. I can, contribute, I'm in a certain way in my household. I contribute a lot. I run my show. I keep connected with politics. I do my own thing. We each will find our things, and we're going to have to find exchanges for that, mutual exchanges that ignore the corporate structure. I think that's just a reality of the situation going forward. Soren the Deceiver says, I only do free work for my family. Well, and I understand why that's the case. I'm just saying that, like, going forward, building mutual structures, building groups of friends, of family who can help each other out in this time is good, and giving is good, because it does come around at the end. And I don't mean giving to corporations who are stealing from you. I mean giving to other people, giving to people who need, not people who don't need and who just want. Pooping Out Loud says, I've made it an point to grow extra tomatoes just for the purpose of giving them out. Pooping Out Loud, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. Look at this. We have our cozy little chat right now. 11. We've got like somewhere around 10 to 15. It says up here 11, but it looks like there's more people actually watching. Whatever. We've got a little group of people. We've got our small little baker's dozen of viewers, or so. And all of us are sitting here telling stories about the shit that we're doing to ensure that we help other people through this. That is fucking inspiring, you guys. That's fucking crazy inspiring. So, Pooping Out Loud, good on you. Keep growing those tomatoes. I am going to be, hopefully soon, fingers crossed, everything works out, I will also be growing things soon. And that's all you can do right now. Just keep an eye and an ear open. Next stream, we're going to talk about some mutual aid structures after I've had more time to read on them and think on them. This is something that I want to make a segment of my streams, that we teach each other how to connect, how to build resilience in this time. In the words of Cornel West, forget getting woke, get fortified. Ideologically and beyond. Spectral Melodies says, they've stolen our labor for too long, and now that the shit hits the fan, they say it's their money. Workers pay taxes and trust to the government, which is supposed to use it for our benefit. When they don't, that's theft. Yes, and self-care. See you soon. Aw, thank you so much. Yeah, it is time for me to go, so I'm going to pick us a place to raid. Let us raid. We raid. Let's see. I think we have... let's see. Let me see. I think we have an opportunity to raid Chud. Let me see. Is Chud on? Is Chud on right now? Let's see. Yes, Chud is on. We're going to raid Chud. All right, everybody. Say hi to Chud for me. I love you all very much. Thank you for hanging out with me today. And you know what? Take care of yourselves. Be fucking kind to yourselves and get strong. Okay? I'm not that awesome under the thunder. I'm just doing my best. That's all. But thank you. Mwah.